I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
You just killed a little fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. Yeah, because you got nothing.
Lobito! Got nothing.
I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
Well. Welcome everybody to another BDA Boxing podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. It's a good friend, Mr. BDA, and I'm glad everybody could be on board for this one. Fellas, we got a fantastic show for you today. Nice little evening show for everybody here, nice and relaxed. Hope everyone's got a beverage of your choice there, maybe a snack. Make it a healthy snack. You know us here at BDA Boxing, we like to keep people healthy. In any event, we got a lot to talk about. The mess that is Spence Crawford, some of the fights that are going to be happening this Saturday, Ocampo, Fundora, Benn, Eubank Jr, of course, said to be a big box office bonanza over there in the UK. So we're going to talk about all of that, plus more. I'll be taking your phone calls near the end of this hour, so stay tuned for that. But before we get down to the fun, fellas, let's get the business out of the way. You know the drill. Don't forget to hit the like. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. You can donate a couple of shekels our way via the super chat feature, but it's always better if you join the membership program. That way you get more bang for your buck. But like I said, the most important thing is that you continue to like, subscribe, spread that BDA gospel, alright? There's a lot of unwashed masses out there, and they need to be corrected. So make sure you do that. Speaking of that, shout out to One Foot Out the Door, rejoining and extending his BDA membership program. Shout out to One Foot Out the Door. Says Al Haymon offers all fighters slave contracts. It's interesting that Haymon, like Butch was saying in the chat, Haymon, people used to defend Haymon. They used to say that Aram was the slave master. Other people used to say it was Eddie Hearn, the slave master. Well, now turns out it might be good old Haymon. Kind of mimicking history, real history, because you know who was enslaving other Africans? It was other Africans. It wasn't white people. So shout out to Tony Boswell as well for his contribution to the super chat. Says much respect at BDA Boxing in the chat. Stopped in to show support. Hit the like button. Salute. Boxing love 100%. Just got off work. Prayers. Well, shout out to you, Tony. Really appreciate it, man. Hope you had a fantastic day and hope you have another fantastic rest of the day listening to this fine show. We will try to keep the dick jokes to a minimum. How about that? Can't promise anything, but it is how it is. All right, let me call a couple of people here so we can start cooking with some hot grease. Stay right there, Jimmy. Stay right there. I'm going to invite more people. It's going to take us to another room.
No problem, brother.
All right, hold on a second. Mr. LDBC says, BDA don't know African history. That's right. All right, we got Bucho. We've got Jimmy. And perhaps more people to jump on here. All right, well, let's get right into it. People are coming out now and they're throwing the PBC, specifically Al Haymon, under the bus for what they're calling slave contracts. Jimmy, before you were even on this show, when the PBC started, you were one of the people that were looking at it and saying, I don't like how this company looks. We'll see what happens. 5 years now. What can we glean from what you said 5 years ago?
Well, start off, you got to go back to HBO. The way he moved at HBO, he drove that company out of boxing, without a doubt. Now, from what you told me recently, that HBO Sports might be leaving too, but that's a separate story. But he tribalized the networks. He's the one who started that. No Showtime fighters, no, you know what I mean? Like, really pushed that. He never gave good fights. He had a lot of people complaining. The ratings shot down. There was infighting. They said he was toxic. didn't want to answer to anybody. The other president actually left. I don't know if anything it had to do with Haymon. But anyways, when the new guy came in, just never had his heart into it. And the sport didn't survive HBO boxing. So his tenure there drove fucking HBO boxing out, and that was the gold standard of the sport. So I knew that coming in, going into the PBC. And then the first 6 months, I said, you know what? $1 billion, 200 plus fighters under contract, albeit I don't like the way he did it. Everybody heard the stories about pretty much the guy's Swedish banker driving or talking Oscar go, to rehab to get help, or obviously out of control with the drugs.
Talk about Richard Schaefer.
Richard Schaefer. Well, he did that. They tried to submarine his company, and the only reason why it survived is because Canelo stayed aboard. If Canelo had signed too, it would have been a done deal for Golden Boy. So it was shady, man, the way he did it. This was like a guy who was working Golden Boy for a few years, close personal friends. They said, from what Oscar was saying after, like he knew him, they hung out. For him to do it the way he did, man, away from at the lowest point of his life. I just thought that was slimy. So I already didn't think he was a man of high character. Heard what he did at HBO. So now he's got $1 billion of investor money. And then he starts giving us mismatch after mismatch. No fights that nobody was asking for, placing them in locations with no geographical relevance to the fighters involved. And that was by 6 months in, I'm like, okay, I see what's happening here. Then things started trickling out about the contracts through different people. Started talking about these insane contracts, like a Bible. It's crazy. All the, ties you into all these things. If you make a certain amount of money, you automatically re-sign to them. Come to find out now, you have to be matched, but we'll get into that. The stuff that's come out lately from Kid Austin. But yeah, no, Haymon has done one thing, and it's indisputable. He has put his alliances to networks ahead of his fighters' financial well-being. He's done it over and over. He hasn't let fighters go because, come to find out, they have zero say, no autonomy. He says how many times they fight, who they fight. So it's not like it's even up to them. So yeah, and he's held them back from making tens of millions of dollars if you combine the fighters like Broner, Wilder. And so he's every bit of the person I thought he was. He just wants his in-house 15% on each. And he's looked like he's holding back the biggest welterweight fight we've had in God knows how long. But I'm done. I'll let somebody else throw in their 2 cents.
Well, I mean, listen, some people have criticized us for picking on the PBC. It's like, why you got to talk about the PBC so much? Well, notice that we don't criticize Matchroom, Top Rank, and Golden Boy all that much because there's not that much to criticize. They're doing things about as well as you could want from them. Of course, they're not perfect, and they fuck up, and they give us crap every once in a while, and we call it out. But the PBC, if they were doing things correctly, we'd be happy because if they were making the big fights, we'd be happy because we're boxing fans, and that's all we want to see. We want to be offered big fights at a reasonable price, and we'll pay for pay-per-views if it's a good fight. But we're boxing fans, we're degenerates. The PBC, we've pointed out the errors of their ways ever since they started, and right now more people are waking up. Let's get into the Errol Spence Crawford fight, the biggest fight in boxing, according to some people on Twitter. Why isn't that happening?
Well, if you want what they're saying, how it's been reported by Carpenter on Max Kellerman, he was saying that Crawford acquiesced to every financial demand. Everyone, every time they came back to whatever, he would say, yep, I'll take it. To the point he was agreeing to no guaranteed money, no money up front. He wanted just the back end money, whatever money they made off the pay-per-view. But here's the thing. Haymon turned around and said, but you can't look at the books. So you'll have to just basically go by what we say. So now here's the man who's actually involved in scalping tickets to his own events, who now you're going to depend on him. It's so laughable. Like even Max Hillman said, it sounds like what it is. And he's a Spence fan. And he's like, it sounds like a duck. Sounds like them trying not to make that fight. And that's where
but Jimmy, why don't they want to make this fight?
It would have to be Spence's team, right? because and originally it was because of Arum. Listen, Haymon can't stand Arum, despises him. Remember, he sued him. Everybody talks about Golden Boy lost. All right, that got thrown out. Arum's didn't. He had to pay Arum a good amount of money, and obviously he just took it as a huge insult. And part of the thing was he had to leave. He was not going to work with Arum. Remember how he handled Porter when Porter said, "Yeah, I'll fight him. I'm a mandatory. Fuck it, I'll fight him." What did Haymon do? Yep, we want nothing to do with it. Didn't even bother to. They didn't go to press because he said he wasn't going to offer. So this is probably knew he was going to be one of his fighters' last fights. You know, Porter's always done whatever he said, and he wanted no involvement with it because it was Top Rank. It's how much he dislikes Arum. So, so he goes and leaves, goes across the street, and the door got slammed in his face because it sounds to me like. And if you go when you watch the videos, somebody posted an excellent video yesterday on YouTube. I'll get the name part, and it just shows one after another interactions. You know, in his body language and in the things he says. Spence doesn't seem like, or if he doesn't get the fight, let's put it this way, if he doesn't get the fight, he's perfectly fine with that. Whereas Crawford has proven by saying, "Yep, I'll take whatever. I just make this fucking fight," and it's them dragging their feet. And now to the point they want to show him the books. It's a duck. And it's,
you know what it sounds like?
Is Haymon doing that so it takes it out of Spence's, it doesn't make Spence look bad. Sorry, Mr. B, I'll just finish up. It doesn't make Spence look bad if Haymon says, "No, you can't see the books," that way everybody will say, "What the hell?" And what does Haymon care? It's not like there's any transparency. Is he going to be held to account? He doesn't do interviews. He doesn't think enough of boxing or its fans to even bother explaining why. So yeah, fuck it. I'll say, say that, whatever, who cares? So now it looks like it wasn't him, it's Haymon. But at the end of the day, I don't see. I just have a real hard. I think that Spence took a real beating in that car accident. I think he might have got a good concussion. I don't think he took those punches well against Ugas, even though he won. And I think they think he would get trounced. That's the only way I could see them not wanting to fight.
That's I'd be willing to go with the fact that it might be somebody from his team keeping him away. I don't know if Spence really feels, because I'm pretty sure. Listen, these type of fighters are crazy. You can't tell them no. If you tell them no, they go, "Well, I'll prove you wrong." That's what that type of fighters they are. They got that fighting and competitiveness inside of them. By the way, what you were talking about, that sounds like pro-per to me and not pro-se. But anyway, the other thing I wanted to mention about that is, listen, you're one of the people, Jimmy, that you've said that you think it's on Spence's side. Now, Keith Thurman just came out again. And he says, look, if this fight doesn't happen, talking about Spence versus Crawford, I'll step in. But a couple of weeks ago, he was being interviewed by the PBC, and he looked a little chubby. A little bit. But do you think he's in line? Do you think that's what we're going to get either this year or early next year? Oh, my God.
That's who he will fight. Yeah, because who else is going to fight? He's not going to fight Virgil Ortiz because that'd be out of the in-house. He wants to keep everything in-house. And what else is in-house, right? Fucking Boots Ennis. Why would he get knocked out by Boots Ennis if I hardly no money when he could get knocked out by Crawford for a big old paycheck? So I don't understand that. So, or he could beat up Keith Thurman, and Keith Thurman wouldn't even have come out and said that unless he was told to by Haymon. I mean, it's to find the things out that guys got to remember this. Wrap your head around this. They have no autonomy over themselves. The guy came right out and said he would sign Kid Austin for 11 years, even after the contract is up with PBC fighters. If they go to another promoter and that promoter offers them X amount of dollars, if the PBC matches, it's in their contract that they have to go back to the PBC. If they make X amount of dollars during their career, that instantly re-signs them for like another 2 fights. It's just this crazy, no other word to say it, a slave contract. He's got them by the short and curlies. He owns their likeness. He owns their name. And so it's everything I thought it was, and even worse. Basically, it's a music contract, and he just scratched out fucking anywhere it said music or touring and just wrote in boxer. It's crazy.
That's a good way of putting it. It wouldn't surprise me if he actually gets to bang their significant others too. I mean, would you be surprised at this point? I wouldn't. Shout out to Plutonium Loach, by the way, for his contribution with the super chat. He says, at the end of the day, MMA champ and rare breed 69 each other while Mirage records and beats off. Come on. I didn't need that image in my head. Shout out to Plutonium Loach for coming up with that scenario. That's something worthy of, I don't know, gayforpay.com or whatever gay porn websites there are there. I don't know the name, sorry. But listen, okay, let me ask Gonzalo this. Gonzalo, you know about a little bit about matchmaking. The Errol Spence that we saw against Ugas, you think he gets trounced by this version of Terence Crawford?
Yeah, the thing with the Uga style counterpuncher, he was just basically kind of like sitting in the trap, basically, just waiting for the other guy to get comfortable. And that Errol Spence guy, he's kind of tunnel vision, when he's determined, which is a good thing. But when you get caught up in what you're doing too much, and the other guy's just timing, when Errol Spence got a little bit too busy, this is the moment. Boom, tunnel vision. Not necessarily paying attention to what I'm doing, and I'm setting the trap for you, and I'm catching you, although I might not be the hardest puncher. I'm going to catch you when you're not basically expecting it, and you can be hurt. As we saw with, Margarito, when he got clipped by, Maromerito Pais Jr., and Eric Morales just asked him, hey, man, you got dropped by a guy that can't punch. Well, if you get caught in the right spot, you're going to get hurt. And now we're talking about Terence Crawford, who's got, I think, nine victories, and I don't know, maybe 9 consecutive knockouts. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but all the victories, I think, for the most part, and the welterweight division, ever since he moved up in weight, he's got the stoppages. So the guy's obviously got some type of power, whether it's deceptive or outright moving up in the divisions. And kind of funny, he looks like what's this guy, Tommy Hearns in a way. Give him that microphone haircut for the 1970s or 60s. Yeah, he looks like Thomas Hearns. No, but
yeah, but the Jerry curls on him.
If you got all the belts and you made it all the way to K2, and you're one peak away from reaching K1, there's nowhere else you can go. That's the fight you have to take. If not, you ain't getting any younger. And it might seem like it's ducking, but how much does the other guy want it? Until what point do you stop making it about yourself if you're the manager or the promoter, and start making it about the fighter? That's the thing, man. Fuck these Al Haymans of the world, man. They need to do their job for the fighters, because the fighters are the ones that run shit, supposedly.
Well, let me ask you, Bucho. People on Twitter this week were making a big deal about how, and Steve Kim wrote an article about that, Tommy Hearns and Sugar Leonard were in their early 23, 24 when they fought each other. Fucking De La Hoya, Trinidad were 26 and had beaten everybody at welterweight. Well, save for James Page and, I guess that's about maybe somebody else that I'm forgetting right now. They fought each other were 26. Is this a sad state of affairs for the welterweight division?
It's sad, man. Listen, Spence Jr. is 32 years old. He's going to be 33 next on March. Crawford is 35. When De La Hoya fought Trinidad, they were both, 27, 28, I believe?
26, something like that, yeah.
26, 20, no, I think it was 27, 28. Anyways, imagine De La Hoya and Trinidad fighting when they're in their mid-30s. After Trinidad fought De La Hoya, which was his biggest fight at the time, and also De La Hoya's biggest fight at the time, they continued on. They went on with their careers, and they had other bigger fights, right? You had Trinidad fighting Vargas and Hopkins. De La Hoya obviously then eventually fought Mayweather. He had another fight with Mosley. He fought Vargas. So even though it was their biggest fight, and it's still, I guess, for their careers, it's their, when they fought each other, that was always their biggest fight. You know what I mean? It was a fight of the millennium. So anyways, my point is that it's sad that these two guys are going to have, if they fight, they're going to have their best fight at the end, when they're in their mid-30s. And who's to blame for this, though? Okay, man, who is to blame for this? It has to be Al Haymon. You can't blame Bob Arum anymore. Remember when Crawford was still with Bob Arum, and some people were like, oh, it's Bob Arum's fault, right? Let's blame Bob Arum. They didn't even know what's going on, but they have to blame somebody, so they're going to blame Bob Arum. Now Crawford is no longer with Bob Arum. Okay, let's play the blame game again. Who is to blame for this? Somebody has to be blamed for this.
Haymonites posted this on his Twitter. Hold on a second, I'm trying to find it here. He actually had a bunch of tweets from people back, I guess a year ago, maybe a little bit less. when everyone was saying, it's Crawford needs to leave. He needs to leave Bob Arum. Here it is. So you can see here, some guy goes, and you can see a pattern of who these people are, by the way, their race. Crawford is a good fighter. He just needs to leave Top Rank. They did a bad job promoting his fight. They pushing Lomachenko more than Crawford. Top Rank is like Impact Wrestling, and PBC is WWE. So this guy's comparing the PBC with the WWE. But at least the WWE, even though it's fake fighting, at least they give people what they want. This guy goes, Spence and Crawford are the best welterweights, period. Crawford just needs to leave Top Rank and sign with PBC. And he goes on and on. People saying that he needs to leave Top Rank. Well, he left Top Rank. Where's the fight? And I like how Jimmy, I like how you said real quick, I like how you said that Haymon doesn't care about boxing fans. It's true. Look at the way they've been. One fight, for every good fight they give us, there's 5 shit fights and mismatches that nobody asked for. But I guess what I wanted to ask you, Jimmy, is Butcher right? Wait, hold on a second. I updated. Okay. Is Al Haymon really, because we were criticizing him for a while now. And when it became apparent, I mean, just look at, okay, I'm going all over the place here. So let me rewind to 2013. One of the best years in boxing. And it all was capped off by that 20th December event, I believe it was, when Broner fought Maidana. You had Keith Thurman versus Jesus Soto Caraz. You had Leo Santa Cruz take on, I forget the Southpaw's guy's names. It was some Puerto Rican Southpaw. It was a good fight. And I think there was another fight. But could have easily been pay-per-view. If they would have done that now, Broner Maidana, it would have been pay-per-view. And I remember when that event was over, I said, fuck, this was a good year of boxing. We had Canelo Mayweather, big event. We had Matisse Garcia on that fight. And I mean, we could go on and on. And then 2014 comes along. Richard Schaefer poaches all the major fighters, or most of them, save for Canelo Alvarez, from the Golden Boy. They go on over to the PBC. They all think they're going to make that Mayweather money, because Haymon was with Mayweather at the time. He was the biggest star, or one of the biggest stars next to Pacquiao. And all these fighters thought, if I go with Haymon and I do what he tells me, I might be as big as Mayweather. And then what happened? Danny Garcia's career faltered. Same thing with Keith Thurman. With Deontay Wilder's career went nowhere until 2020 when he fought Fury, and finally people started recognizing him in the streets. Whether PBC is still around in a year or two, is it safe to say that they were bad for boxing? Let's just put it out there. One more time.
Absolutely.
When Al Haymon got into boxing, I'm surprised because Vernon Forrest actually, he convinced Al Haymon, and he took that leap of faith and he beat Shane Mosley twice. That's, I think, about the only time he's ever been in the ring. Mm-hmm. And when Vernon Forrest won, he started jumping like a little girl, like Bill Clinton, when she thought fucking Hillary Clinton won the elections. Up and down, like all fucking gleeful. And after that, it's like, where's the faith in the fighters? Because Vernon Forrest told me I could beat this guy. Or the fighter's not talking to that person, to that guy, or some people don't even know him. They got this myth about, Al Haymon, but they never met him personally. That's It's like, I don't think he's got faith in boxing like he should have, like when he first had Vernon Forrest.
Well, he does, like Jimmy said, he doesn't care about boxing. He cares about his percentage.
No. Well, how smart he's smart. Okay, well, if he's making a lot of money, then I guess he's smart, right? But I think he could have made even more money if he would have used that money that he had available to actually create a successful promotional company.
Excellent point.
Because he had millions of dollars. He had all these former Golden Boy boxers at his disposal. He had access to network television, so he had access to a large audience. And it seems like he obviously failed because he's back on pay-per-view, right? So, I mean, he's not that smart, to be honest. I mean, he's a con man, I guess, because he screwed everybody over. But he could have made more money by actually trying to make make the PBC a successful company.
That's an excellent point.
Well, Bucho, to your point, Bucho, about, I mean, think about the money he had, okay? Then what we know of for a fact was $750 million, right? $750 million. Think about the fights that he gave us from May of 2015 when the PBC started till it came out in that article that his lawyer was less than 2.5 years later was in court saying that we have like $80 million left for working capital, meaning that they had like set aside hundreds of million for working capital for 5-year plan. So he was basically busted after 2.5 years. Where did that money go? I mean, I know they bought, they had stuff designed and made like belts because it was going to be PBC in-house belts. He spent a lot of money. I heard like $500,000 to have the guy write the PBC anthem. Have we ever heard that music again? No. The big stage. Remember that big stage? Right? They used to have the PBC stage and whatnot. They
had Hans Zimmer.
Well, yeah, they don't bring it around anymore because the cost of lugging around in an 18-wheeler. Why bother? They don't care. And what's funny, he took all that stuff down from the website almost immediately. I think what happened, they thought they were going to get Canelo, and they knew if they didn't get Canelo, that was they had too much against them. And another thing, I think after a year and a half, and not one because the mission statement was, we're going to go out. Use this money. It's the pitch to the networks, as an article by Mike Hill said that they told them we're going to buy blocks of TV time, including the commercial space. So we want us to sell the commercials. The networks won't cost them a dime, but what they'll see is a product so good, and they'll see the viewer numbers, so good that they'll be so impressed. They'll then say, okay, get me down for it's almost like a dealer. First hit's free, but it's so good, man. You're going to be coming back and ringing my fucking phone at 3 a.m. Except the only two people who called were to tell him, yeah, you're not buying any more shit from us, dude. We don't even want seriously. They were like, so he was buying the network. And even then NBC was like, no more. Because your fucking product sucks so bad. You're losing out to fucking, cartoon reruns. It's ridiculous. So everybody cut bait with them. So he just basically at that point it was, I'm getting my 15%. And if Wilder goes and fights Joshua, he loses 15%. Even if it's $120 million, he's not going to get that 15% to who he's fighting. And think about this. He's not a real promoter, even though he calls all the shots. So he needs these shills like Sam Lukowitz and Tom Brown. You know what I mean? Just use their license. The old guy to do that was Lou DiBella. Remember, Lou DiBella was out in front. He was the face of the PBC because Al Haymon didn't speak. And all he had to do was he was representing Wilder, too, at the time. And when he heard $120 million offer, he's like, I'd be a fool not to talk to these people. But because Haymon said no, he didn't take him serious. Well, okay, whatever. And you don't want to make the deal. But obviously you want me to at least hear it out. Nope. Just because he heard him out, Haymon cut bait with him, fired him.
Oh.
That's the kind of loyalty. Think about it. What's that?
Can I throw something in there?
Absolutely.
It's kind of a question as well. There's supposedly a relationship between him and Mayweather that's not clear really what their partnership, if any at all, exists. Do you think that has a lot of influence? Because we see how we've seen Mayweather's walk, the way he walks, the way he does business. Do you think that has a direct influence on the PBC? Because it's kind of similar.
I know he was definitely a part of coercing a lot of the African American fighters onto the platform, because Haymon himself wasn't going to be able to do it. So they sat him down, and because the stories how Floyd was in there on the meetings. So they were telling him, dude, you could make this kind of money. We're not going to put you in fights to, other promoters only care about the bottom line. We're not going to do that. We're going to put you in a position to win. That kind of guaranteed language was used a lot. And even you would have, remember Danny Garcia's father said about Rob Selka? How that was such a mismatch. He's like, well, why wouldn't we fight Rob Selka for $2 million? Why would we fight? And he kind of let the cat out of the bag. So that was their plan, was to never put their fighters, match them tough unless it was for the utmost amount of money. And that has still gone on today. Think about it. You got David Benavidez, right? Bashing Canelo. And I'm not going down that route. I'm just saying, but here's a kid who's with the PBC. All right. I used to cut him slack because he tried to go to Top Rank, but the fact that he resigned, probably because they would have matched his money and he didn't even bother. We found that out now. But he hasn't even fought Plant, and that was his fault because Sam Lukowitz wanted $7 million, and there's no $7 million to be had. So he's priced himself out of that fight. I don't know what happened with the Morrell fight. That fell apart. But either way, his guys aren't fighting anybody. They're literally relegated to sitting on the sidelines. Me, ooh, me, Canelo, me, instead of fighting each other. So
they want that Canelo welfare check.
I see it circling the drain. I see the PBC circling the drain, and how can you not? I mean, there's no money. Showtime's, he's not on good terms with them. Nobody's going to no network's going to put up. I mean, he'd have to come out. He's going to have to go to an app. The one thing his fans have been bashing more than anything, that's the only saving grace. He's going to have to find an app, or at least build one.
That's right. But then they're going to go, oh, you see, he built his own app. He don't need another app like, Eddie Hearn need another app. He couldn't create his own. That's what they're going to say. And by the way, shout out to J. Nels for his contribution with the Super Chat. He says, could Eubank be overconfident? Benn isn't really a bum to be overlooked. But we're going to talk about that later on. We're going to talk about that. In the meantime, don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. And just to clarify things here, the PBC, we've been hearing news about their demise, and they're still around. They're like cockroaches, They fucking cockroach. They're still around. But let's take a look at the schedule. Hey, maybe they're on their last leg. Who knows? This Friday, which I believe is a showbox card, because it's on Friday, Zucan is going to be taking on Brandon Benitez. All right. Then you got Saturday, we got Sebastian Fundora, Carlos Ocampo, who's been on a good run of wins, but really his best win so far is Zuski here in my neck of the woods in Quebec. Then on the undercard, Carlos Adames, Juan Macias Montiel. All right. Okay fight. Fernando Martinez, Jerwin Ancajas. That's the fight to look for, the rematch. That's going to be a good one. But then you go back down and you start seeing when's the next fight? Pay-per-view, Wilder Helenius. So Wilder coming back from 2 consecutive beatings, taking on a 38-year-old fighter. Caleb Plant-Durrell on the undercard. Then you go down. You get this Showtime card. I don't know if they're involved in it. It's another showbox. Then you've got Jake Paul. They don't have anything to do with that, I don't think. Then you go down, and you go down, and you realize there's no more Showtime until January 28th when they've said Charlo versus Tim Tszyu. Who knows if that's going to happen, because you never know if someone's going to get injured, if there's going to have to change the date for whatever other reason. It's already October the 4th. Usually by this time, they announce November, December fights. Are we going to get any November, December fights from the PBC, even pay-per-view, at least pay-per-view? Are they going to get any of those fighters? It would have to be
pay-per-view, just like Wilder is, like Wilder Helenius, which is ridiculous, but it'll have to be pay-per-view because Showtime doesn't have the slots. And we're in October. They already have their program set through the year. Mm-hmm. Like, that, it takes time, plus you have to get venues and everything. So, yeah, no, we're going to get Boots Ennis fighting 4 minutes for this calendar year. I mean, you really, seriously, if you think about it, he plied his trade for 4 minutes for 2020. It's just nuts. It's nuts. These guys are stagnated career. If they think we're picking on the PBC, by all means, call in and tell us. Explain to me how Haymon's helped the sport. And for years, it was always he takes care of his guys. And then you never hear anybody complain about Al Haymon. But no matter how many times you tell him, and how many times have I said about the non-disclosure pack? I've been clause in there, right? I've said it over and over again. Finally come out now. People, that kid said there was, I guess Kid Austin, I was told, said that his father said there was, like, you can't say nothing bad about Haymon or his product. That's why they don't leave. And the reason why Jacobs was able to escape back in 2017 was because the money that DAZN gave him, Haymon couldn't match or wouldn't match, even though he was one of the biggest boxers the PBC had at the time. So, yeah, it's just flim-flam, man. It is what it is. It was never going to get better. The longer this dude stays in boxing, the worse it's going to be. I guarantee if he was to leave now and all these guys started just going to, like, Matchroom and to Golden Boy, Top Rank, we would get so much better fights. He's been the sticking block. He's been the one common denominator all this time. And so here's the thing I just want to say, like you said about their fans, bro, I got to say one thing. What really bothers me, like, you can say what you want about Bob Arum, Snake, blah, blah, blah. But if you look at the facts, he's either made or been a part of some of the biggest fights in boxing history in the last 50 years, right? That's a fact. So you can at least point to something he's done, attributes, achievements. Why would you? The only reason why, and at least Barbershop Conversations was man enough to admit the truth, his support was based for one reason. They gave unwavering devotion to a man because he had the same skin color as them. Right. So am I surprised it's all blowing up in their face now? Well, under that criteria, no, I'm not.
It seems like a big experiment, BDA, that, I don't know how long he's been in boxing, but it's pretty much been like around a decade. That's how long fighters' primes or careers go for like this generation, right? So the people that been around ever since he's been, they've done lesser probably than the generations before, legacy-wise. So it's kind of like trial and error, this big experiment, and when they fail, the thing, it has like repercussions because the sport gets watered down. Are the Americans, that do the panel for the people that are going to go into the Boxing Hall of Fame, are they going to be like, well, this generation of fighters' careers was less than remarkable because of the politics? Well, let's now bring down our standards to get these guys in. We saw an example with like Danny Garcia. All the crocodile tears was an indication that he wants the Simone Biles treatment. Give me a fucking medal and let me get in. Because that's what they're doing, I think.
That's a good point. I mean, listen, it's the standard now for fighters, tough fighters, to fight less than those before them. But it's still, by those standards, the PBC is still falling behind. I mean, why is Jermell Charlo only going to fight once this year? Supposedly, some people want to put him in the top 10 pound for pound, top 5. Okay, because he's the undisputed junior middleweight champion. Okay, fine, but aren't you angry that the undisputed junior middleweight champion is only going to be fighting once this year? And his brother hasn't even fought at all this year. I mean, that should make people question. But again, it's not. Like Jimmy said, they were sucking off Al Haymon for so long. He's the guy. He's going to make the fights happen. And listen, I hate to point that out, but remember when this whole Crawford Spence thing really got people grasping at straws. Remember we had a guy call in and he felt, again, keyword being felt, that Floyd Mayweather was going to step in and make the Spence-Crawford fight happen. Because it's the biggest fight out there. It's the biggest block. He's going to make it happen. How is he? He can't even properly manage his own fights. Look at the fucking, what's he called? The other Logan Paul affair. Hasn't gotten paid. He's being sued for that. He's going to put on his own money, if he even has it, to put down money to make this fight. It's insanity. Look, the bottom line is this, and people said it way a long time ago, before they even got into official negotiations. They're asking for too much money, Crawford and Spence. Now, apparently, they finally ironed that out. I think that reality hit them in the head. And now we still got more stuff, more hijinks ensuing. And this fight.
And
so
that's
is this
just
fight even going to happen?
BDA. He's not even asking for money. He's saying, I'll take money off the back end. You don't have to pay me. Don't get, you know what I mean? He's not looking for money. So there's no excuse for this fight happening. I mean, come on, think about it. Imagine, just put yourself in his position. I'll take 30% of the money of the gross, not the net, the gross. I guess what he said. Most people don't do that. I might be getting it wrong. I might have said net, but either way, the one he picked wasn't the most common. But here's the thing. So it's like I'm completely dependent on what this fight does. That's my payday. Hey, but on one condition, obviously you want to see the books. Imagine going into work with somebody and you say, okay, man, we're going to, let's do this job, say your construction job. And at the end, whatever, we're going to do this job at $25,000. And then, at the end, you minus the hours and the material. And then the guy cuts you a check and says, and you're like, okay, what do we pay on material? Don't worry about it. I got it. Yeah, okay. I know you got it, dude. What was the material and what was the hours? Don't worry. That's your money. No, dude, show me the shit. Like, there's no job you would do in that position that you would trust the other motherfucker to say, no, we're not going to show you the books. Like, why wouldn't you? I also think it has something to do with the fact he never wants to open his books. I always said that would be one of the reasons he wouldn't make a fight with Bob Arum, to sit down and negotiate, to say, my guy's the A side. One of the criteria you would use to prove that is number of pay-per-view sales. And he's not going to take Al's word for it. He's going to say, show me what you pay tax on. Because that's the fucking one that's going to count. All your word salad bullshit and all Steven fucking, Espinosa's garbage on Twitter don't mean shit. Show me the books. And he wouldn't. I knew he never would, and he never has.
As my mentor and attorney, Rafael Shapiro, said, something's afoot. Something foul is afoot. That's what he would say in this scenario. And may I just remind people, too, but Thomas Hauser did a fantastic article years ago on Al Haymon. Who is Al Haymon? And he ended the article by saying that he talked to two people who, it's a couple, and what they do is they have a vast library of fights. And I think for a fee, they can do compilations for promoters, trainers, matchmakers, and so on and so forth. Or they give him a package of a certain guy's fights. And apparently they said that Al Haymon commissioned a montage melange, a vignette, whatever you want to call it, of him, rather his fighters thanking him after each victory. Again, that's what they said. Take it with a grain of salt. But would it really surprise you knowing that this guy doesn't want to delegate power? He wants to take control of everything. He doesn't want to do interviews at all. Doesn't want to open up the books. He only cares about his percentage. Reminds me of that's the quote. That was a quote from Johnny Depp in the what was the name of that movie there with the book, Satan book, Ninth Gate. And that's what he says. He says, all I care is about my percentage. That's fucking Al Haymon.
Yeah. If it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, it's probably a duck. No, what's the other saying? If the shoe fits. Or what about the River Superior quote? If the River Superior quote, the glove thing. If it doesn't fit, you gotta quit.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, and think about it. Sam Watson's sole career, right? Well, I mean, pretty much on camera, he would stand there at the end of fights and behind the fighter as shoulder to remind him, whispering. He's been, hot mic'd a few times, saying it. Don't forget to thank Al. Don't forget to thank Al. Like nervous about it. Don't forget to thank Al. Fuck. Like you say to yourself, seriously. Like, it's that. And I got to thank Al Haymon. Like, that's the first person that gets thanked. You don't thank anybody before Al. It's like, pay homage, kiss the ring. Fuck off, dude. You've done nothing. But, I mean, think about this, dude. Right? Bob Arum, again, say what you want, but he's not the type of person to say certain things. He'll insult people. He'll say whatever in the heat of a moment. But he thinks to the words he says. He knows they have ramifications. Especially as an attorney, and actually a very good attorney. He was, if you look at his law career, it was pretty impressive. But anyways, as a side note, so he knows words carry weight. And for him to say Al Haymon is a cancer to the sport of boxing, that's no joke. That wasn't the guy's an asshole, he's hard to deal with. He's a cancer to the sport of boxing.
And De La Hoya called him Hitler. He called him the Black, well, not De La Hoya. Maybe I think someone within the organization called him Black Hitler or something akin to that. I have to verify, make sure I'm getting my facts straight. Shout out to Leonardo Campos Vasquez for his contribution with Super Chat. He says, another month of supporting BDA. I want to thank Al Haymon. Well, there you go. Thanking Al Haymon before God, before family, anybody else. Al Haymon comes first. Fellas, we open up the phone lines here. We've opened up the phone lines. So if you want to call in, talk to us about that. We're going to get into Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. Also want to talk a little bit about, I want to mention the whole thing, the Shakur Stevenson's low blows. Some people are saying that they weren't low blows, despite that the video evidence speaking to the contrary. But anyway, we got a phone call here. Let's get to it. Let's get to 386. 386, you're on the air. 386, what's on your mind?
BDA, Jimmy. What's up, fellas? Jack.
Oh, what's going on, Action buddy? Jackson, man. What's up?
I just wanted to give you guys, I don't think you guys get enough props that you deserve, life is better when the BDA show is on, and I really...
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay,
BDA.
sorry, but the cut off there a little bit. All right, well, I thankfully it didn't cut off when Jackson was giving his praise. Thanks for that, Jackson.
You guys still there?
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah,
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Right. Yeah, we can hear you, man.
Yes,
sorry about
can.
that. We cut off. Refresh your stream,
I was
everybody.
just saying, you guys are a blessing, and we can talk about some of that stuff, like Shakur Stevenson. Clearly, violating all the rules of boxing, and I wouldn't even get into that because he's backed by an organized crime figure, and so I thought. I don't want to get into that, but you could say the same about Canelo. You could say the same about Tyson Fury. They all got their whatever you want to call that on the back end. So, and that's what controls the world. These Machiavellian forces, which is really the United States right now. And this is more of second renaissance, but yeah, it's sad that stuff has to go on.
Well, listen, I mean, who knows how long that's going to last now, the PBC. They're on their last leg. Even their supporters are realizing now, shit, we can't continue. They're going to jump on another boat to try to placate to their black fan base.
What boat do you think that would be, guys? Because there's the Almighty Al and the Almighty Al.
That's right. Well, no, I think once they get off that bus, they're just going to keep on pushing black narratives, but it's just they're going to do it without the backdrop of the Haymon PBC organization.
Well, and I don't have a problem of supporting your people. Like, if I don't want to get into it, but if you want to root for whatever fighter, that's fine. Just don't hate on other groups of, people, because you're always going to support your family. So if you grow up in an Italian family, you're probably going to go for Italians, and the same for. I mean, it's an instinctual thing,
That's right. Yeah, it's a tribalistic thing that's ingrained in a lot of people. But they gotta look past that sometimes and just enjoy the fights. But these guys, they don't want to enjoy the fights. In fact, they don't even watch the fights if it doesn't involve a black man. So, Jackson, anything else you want to say?
Well, you're Canadian, right, PDA?
Yeah.
I mean, Canadian people.
Canadian people, what?
No, I'm just kidding. I know you're a little Mexican, right?
Little Mexican. Maybe we ought to meet in person. You'll see how little I am. And you know who else I'm going to bring in? I'm going to bring one hitter with me. I haven't forgotten that you wanted to fight him.
I didn't mean it like that.
Ago.
No, I was just saying, I don't know. Those Canadians can be pretty ferocious. But
Jackson, you don't have to explain nothing, do we? No, man, you're not right. You ate a taco. Wasn't that you who said that? I had a burrito today.
Yeah, he had some enchiladas.
And
a burrito.
Yeah.
That was a compliment. I don't get the like.
It was funny as hell.
I mean, I try sometimes. But
all right, we'll keep
Jimmy,
on trying,
you
Jackson.
Keep the show grounded, and hold on, BDA. Yeah,
I gotta go, man. We gotta go.
But yeah, Jimmy, you always do well, and what's the topic tonight? Just Shakur and that stuff.
Well, we just started off with the fucking PBC thing, and we're gonna move on to the Benn thing. Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr.
Okay, yeah. Let me say one thing about that is, real quick, they just have the wrong business model. Like PBC, I think they went in with the incentive to monopolize boxing, but Al saw that there's a bunch of different third parties involved, and just he's trying to make his escape right now while maintaining his wealth with all the investment firms and investment banking. But yeah, guys, have a good show. Appreciate it.
All right, take it easy there, Action Jackson. Thank you for the kind words. We'll talk to you later. All right, don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. All right, let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to, who else we got here? We got 951 on the air. 951, you're on the air. 951, what's on your mind? 951, you're on the air. I can't hear you, man. Call back later, okay, man? 951, you'll call back later. I'm telling you, you'll call back later. What are you arguing with me for? Who am I arguing with? All right, let's go to 917. 917, you're on the air. 917, what's on your mind?
Hey, my friend, how's it going, man? Everything
doing
good?
Fantastic. We're doing fantastic. How's it on your side of the woods? Neck of the woods, what?
Hey, everything okay. Hey, we got the fight coming up, right? Chris Eubank with the other guy.
That's right.
The Conor Benn, right? Huh? The steroid guy. You know who I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about, man.
So listen, man. I told you last time a Canelo Triple G, how the fight gonna go, I was wrong. But this time I'm gonna be right, my friend. This guy Conor Benn, he don't fuck around. He's gonna take a tzatziki sauce, throw it all over the motherfucker.
What do you think about the rehydration clause?
Yeah, it's bullshit, but what do you want, 2022, bunch of fucking fatties over here. Rehydrate this, rehydrate that, I'll rehydrate your mother.
Would you have tried, would you have tried to get in contact with Chris Eubank Jr. and say, listen, I can negotiate a deal for you? Maybe allow for an extra pound or two for rehydration? Could you have been able to do that?
I've had his mother on the phone. You think I do that?
Wait a minute. You're going too far, my friend. A little bit.
Anyway, you know what I said. This guy's going to knock this guy flat out.
By the way, I think this guy sold me a black cable box in the 90s so I could get HBO for free. Anything else you want to say, man, before we go?
Nah, that's it, man. Thanks for the show. You guys are the best. You come down by my spot, I give you a free guidance.
All right, man. Thanks for the offer. I'll take you up on that. Take it easy, man. Call back next time. All right.
Take it easy, my friend.
Jeez Louise, there's people screaming in the background too. All right, let's go to, who else we got here? 951 is calling back. Let's see if we can get him on the air. 951, you're on the air. 951, what's on your mind?
Yeah, what's up? Boom Boom Guy, LDBC.
Oh, Boom Boom, what's up, man? Nah, you're cutting off, man. You're in your car, aren't you? Yeah.
Yes, he is.
I'm going to try to call back because I need to connect to Bluetooth.
All right, man. All right. We'll be waiting. All right. Let's go to 226 here. 226, you're on the air. 226, what's on your mind?
Yeah, Fizz, I want to know, what was that guy talking about when he said you people? I'd like to know.
We've got the Slugmeister
2-3 calls ago, he said you people to you. No, I heard him say that to you, BDA. He said you people. What do you mean by that?
Wait, are you referring to Action Jackson or the guy with the Armenian accent? Or whatever it was?
He's talking, I thought he was talking about us panel, like you people.
The guy before the
show.
Armenian, the Jackson guy, he was talking about you people. Now, I'd like an explanation.
Well, listen, maybe Jackson can...
What do you mean by that?
Maybe Jackson can call back and clarify. You seem to take umbrage to what he said.
Yeah, he said it to you, BDA. He said, you people. Now, I'd like for him to get his ass back on the fucking line over here, and we could have a talk, me and him. I'd straight him up.
I think he meant the show, you people. I think that's what he meant.
I don't know, Jimmy. I think Slugger has a good point here. I think in this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Listen, Jackson. Listen, Jackson's probably not gonna call back those Slugger because you're kind of intimidating to a lot of people with your boxing training, your background, and all that. I don't think he wants any part of you.
Well, I mean, it's understandable. I've called on him many times before, and I've told you guys I've been in about 800 street fights. So I wouldn't want anybody to want a piece of me either. You know what I mean? So that's all right.
That's all right. Slugger, anything else, man?
Well, nothing too much. Just I agree with what you guys said about Haymon. The guy's a poisonous snake to the boxing game. Ooh. And fucking Jake Paul's taking over a promotional game. Let him take over. What else do I got to say?
Hey, listen, 1 foot out the door says that Sammy, talking about you, is only intimidating to 8-year-olds. Won't go into the details, she said. Is he being a little bit out of line there, Slugger?
Yeah, he's been out of line. And listen. You won't have the balls to say that in my face when I see him. When I see you, 1 foot out the door, when I see you face to face, smack the shit out you. You won't say nothing like that to me. All right, knock it off. Knock off the tough guy talk. You know what I'm talking about, 1 foot. You know exactly what I'm talking about, fucking pillow biter. I don't want you trying that shit anymore.
You called him a pillow biter.
All right, listen, BD, I just want to say one more thing. All right, when I win the lottery, praise out to God, cross your fingers over here for Sammy. When I win the lottery, everybody is going to become a member on the BDA channel. Everybody. Is that too much, BDA? Do you not want me to do that?
No, dude, you do what you got to do, Sam. We'll back you up. All right, well, listen, Slugger, thank you for your call. Good to hear from you, man, and call back next time, right, man?
All right, fellas, you take it easy.
You take it easy as well, man. There you go. That's from the mean streets of Ontario, or I don't know where he is exactly. All right, let's see if Boom Boom we can hear
from
him.
Detroit.
Detroit. Okay, 951. You're on the air. 951. What's on your mind?
What's up, Boom Boom Guy, LDBC?
Oh.
Are we talking about the almighty PBC?
Yeah, the almighty. Yeah, that's what we're talking about, man.
All right. Yeah, a lot of people use PBC as
to push their anti-black narrative. I don't know why PBC gets so much slack. I know they make their mistakes, just like other companies in boxing make their mistakes. But I don't see why PBC gets so much slack. We don't just have all black fighters. Who we have? Mikey Garcia. We got Leo Santa. Well, I wouldn't say we, but I'm just saying PBC has Leo Santa Cruz. I think Fundora is a PBC fighter.
Yeah, he's black. He's black.
Who else they got?
Yeah, but when did we say that it's a black professional company? That's in your head. We're talking about Al Haymon. We never said that all their boxers are black. We never said that.
Remember, you also need somebody to beat on boom,
people,
right?
People say the PBC is PBC pushing a black narrative. It was I mean, I understand, like they say, if black guys come over there, they're going to be treated better. But I think, Al Haymon dropped the ball on a couple of things, or more than a couple of things. But what he cannot do is not let this fight happen. I think that will be the end of the PBC and their fan base if they do not make this fight. I know Rick Glacier was saying that if he doesn't fight Crawford, that he would fight a mandatory that wouldn't even be on pay-per-view. I think a couple of platforms already said we're not picking up any other fights that you're, I don't know who the mandatory was. I forgot who it was. But, yeah, I mean, the fight has to happen. That's all I got to say. The fight has to happen.
Well, it doesn't look like it's going to happen, at least not this year. So
his mandatory is not Thurman. Thurman's number one ranked by WBC
today, so I can't really hear you guys. So I'm gonna get out of here.
All right, boom. Take it easy, man. Take it easy out there. I tell you, the Mies streets are no place for a guy without a Bluetooth. That's what I'll say. All right, let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 301. 301, you're on the air. 301, what's on your mind?
Hey, what's up? What's up, BDA? Before he hung up, I think Jackson mentioned that Haymon's plan was to monopolize boxing, and that reminded me of something that Kellerman said about HBO's exit from the sport. That they realized they couldn't do it with the budget that they had anymore, and when you take into account I don't know if Jimmy had mentioned this, so forgive me if you elaborated on this, but if you take into account the network's pay structure, it makes a lot of sense because the networks take a lot of the pay-per-view out, from the promoters, so there's much less revenue to share. Whereas all the other platforms, ESPN, DAZN, they're pretty much almost like a complete, straight to promoter payment, right? Well, I understand they take off very little the actual provider, right?
They're self-contained. They have their own platform service, right? DAZN, built right in, so they don't have to split a 50% or 40% revenue.
Exactly, and ESPN has a similar share with the promoter as well, right?
Exactly. Yep, same thing. They have their own platform too.
So there's just a lot more money for the promotional company with those pay-per-view structures. So, it makes sense that the Haymon's eventual departure from the sport is just sort of inevitable, right? As he's just partnered with Showtime, and they just don't have the, they can't really compete with that kind of pay structure. No promotional company can. That's why you see every single one of his small-time press conferences are on Zoom. It's embarrassing, They get Wilder and Hellenius to have a press conference, but Stephen Fulton, who's an actual fighter, has to go on Zoom.
I mean, yeah. Listen, man.
So
hopefully they're on.
I know. We've talked to death on how nobody, they're all careers are stunted with the PBC and going nowhere. It's sad to see because it actually holds up other divisions. You never have to wait for anything like bantamweight.
That's right.
But hopefully, they'll just realize that at least they can make a little bit of money down there and make the fights that can happen.
Hey, hopefully, man. I mean, listen, if the PBC disbands, those guys are going to have to go to somewhere else to get proper representation, and then hopefully we'll see the big fights happen. And so hopefully Al Haymon can get out of boxing because he's been holding it up for everybody. He's been destroying it. He's been stalling.
That's the dream.
That's the dream. We can dream, can't we?
Yeah, man, that's the dream.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, guys, think about it, right? Spence is boxing. Well, Spence is their biggest guy out of welterweight. He's their number one stop. easily, right? His last, and we can say argue with us on opinion on things, but here's something that's not opinion; it's a fact. Even going by the pay-per-view numbers that they leak through compliant media, he is dropped by a 50,000 increment every time. That's not good. You don't go backwards as you're getting into your prime. Your pay-per-view numbers start going backwards. That's a bad thing. That means they're not doing it right. But he can't complain and he can't go anywhere.
That's right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, Spence seems like he's always like high or drunk, so he doesn't seem like he's fully there even before the accident. So he doesn't seem to mind anything that's going on.
Yeah,
around
he's
him.
perpetually high.
Like, honestly, every time I see him give an interview, he's like, yeah, you know what it is, man. His eyes are like bloodshot. What it is.
These are all Spence.
A lot of that's like a southern drunk, the text thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's a part of like the, yeah.
No, that's not what it is. That's not what it is. He's high. You look at his eyes. He's high. I'm the A side, baby. I'm the A side. Shut up. All right. Well, listen, caller. Thank you for your call. We'll call back next time. All right, man.
Yep.
Yeah, man. You gotta watch out for those Michael Jordan eyes. You know, once those set in, it's all over.
Oh, come on.
All right.
All right.
Have a good one.
You too. What were you gonna say? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's also the boxing, man. It's the fighting style. You gotta remember. I mean, this guy is a come forward fighter. It could be like early CT, like not really like right now. It's out of control, but it's something that's gonna get far worse, like Riddick Bowe, Terry Norris, Mildred Taylor.
You never know.
I could see it already, man.
No, hopefully not, man. Because I hate to see. Listen, there's fighters I root for, and there's fighters I root against. But I never want to see a fighter fucking take CT. It's a horrible way to go through life after boxing, and hopefully he gets his act together. By the way, I got a give a big shout out to Rafael Gadasa for his contribution with the super chat. He says Malik Scott pulled a Greg Louganis on us, boxing aficionados. I mean, listen, people love to talk about dives and missed jabs, and this guy didn't come to win, blah blah blah. You take a look at that Malik Scott fight. There's no punch landed. That's the one that you can definitely go in on, for sure. Shout out to Kenshiro, by the way, for his contribution as well with the super chat. He says, Jimmy, would Carlos Monzon have beaten Hagler? Oh, Jimmy, he's putting you on the spot because you're a Hagler fan.
No.
What do you mean, no?
I don't believe so.
We're going to have to get into that at some point. We're going to have to get into that at some point, a little bit.
No matter who you're going to say, dude, you could fucking dig up Jesus Christ and have God in his corner. I'm pulling for my boy. I'm a fan when it comes to Marvin. That's just how it is. All rationale goes out the window, man. I love Marvin.
People are going to start calling you the...
part of my fucking, law. So that's the one guy that I'm always going to root for. He's a home, local boy.
People are going to start calling you the Hagler simp. I can just see it now.
Right, the Hagler simp, man. Oh, no. I can't believe he's been dead for 2 years now, or at least over a year. Sucks.
Yeah, man.
It's true he was only 5'9", Jimmy. He wasn't like really that tall.
Yes.
Or middleweight.
He was only about 5'10". Yeah, just a shy under 5'10", but real wide back. And he's never stopped on his toes. Like it wasn't, obviously video cameras look like the fucking, you were doing a TV news at night. Back in the day, the old video cameras on your shoulder. It wasn't like I go in there, we have cell phones today, but to see him train, like it was just something to witness. It was the intensity and what he trained at the speed and the level, not taking, it was horrible, and he made it that way on purpose. He wanted to put him in a bad mood and his whole mindset, but just everything, man. Everything he did was to the full extent. But yeah, so I just never seen anybody take the will out of him. Not even close. John Mugabe punched every bit as hard as Count Malzone, and he couldn't even fucking take the dog out of him.
Well, I tell you what, man. The research and development lab over at the BDA they're working on an alternate time parallel universe machine, so we can glimpse into parallel universes. Maybe one day we'll glimpse into what would have been between Hagler and Monzon. In the meantime, let's continue with the phone calls here.
If you go back that far, please don't let Monzon throw his wife off the balcony. Bring it back to where that doesn't happen.
We'll try to stop him, man. But first, we gotta go meet Hitler. Gotta ask him a couple of questions. Maybe even give him a little advice. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right, listen, let's go to Chicago, I believe. 773. 773.
Don't attack Russia. Don't attack Russia.
He's just gonna whisper to him.
Yep.
773. You're on the air. 773. What's on your mind?
I almost whooped someone's ass. I almost whooped this old man's ass this weekend.
Why? What
I
happened?
almost whooped this old man's ass.
What happened? What happened?
You want to know? I was playing a poker tournament. He gets knocked out, and I say, another one bites the dust.
Oh.
And he starts elbowing me. I'm like, relax, old man, And we just had to get separated. He was pissed.
How old was K-Dog? How old was this guy?
He was probably like 50, 55.
Okay, that's not old. What are you talking about?
Well, to me, that's old.
That's refined, I would say.
He's definitely on the tail end of his career. We'll just say that. But yeah,
well, you didn't call to talk about. You didn't call to talk about beating up on old people, right?
I called in to just say I whooped this old man's ass because he was testing me. Because I won the poker tournament. I rubbed it in his face. I said, I win, you lose. Another one bites the dust. And that's what happened.
All right, well, that is
as far as boxing goes. As far as boxing goes, what's your deal with the Eddie Hearn, Tyson Fury? Bob Arum chimed in. I forgot he was still alive. He chimed in and said something. Just a complete shit show, that whole situation. Even more of a shit show than the Crawford Spence situation. Do you guys give your thoughts on that?
Jimmy or Gonzalo Butcher, anyone want to touch on that?
I'll be honest, I haven't. I've just completely put fucking Tyson Fury on ignore. He just too much contradiction, too much weirdo shit. Let me know when he's fighting next, and then I'll tell you if I'm interested. I just can't listen to all the stuff that comes out of his mouth. It gives me a headache.
Kevin?
I know Gonzalo's got an opinion.
Oh, come on. What's that supposed to mean? I didn't know he's... Gonzalo, what's your opinion on that?
Gonzalo's always got something to say. Gonzalo, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, Tyson Fury talks a lot, but really he fights just as often as everybody else. I mean, everybody else kind of fights along the lines of how many times Tyson Fury fights a year, twice for the most part. So whatever he says is like whatever.
Right. But at the same time, I was reading something, Eddie Hearn. There was a contradiction statement with Hearn saying he gave Wilder the contract, but then he comes out and says, we never gave him the contract, talking about the Joshua versus Wilder fight. So Eddie Hearn, who's always supposed to be the clean-cut, tell it like it is, honest guy, he's another bullshitter, from what I heard. They're all bullshitters, right?
I think that's what you're trying to get at. Yeah, just go all out and say, yeah, they're all bullshitting. Never trust... I'm rewatching the X-Files, by the way, and that's the motto. Never trust anyone.
Never trust a bitch.
Oh, wait a minute. All right. See, I think you've been partying too much from that victory that you had over there at the poker game. Kevin, we're going to have to move on. But thanks again. And listen, stay out of trouble, all right? You with the fucking car accidents, beating up old men after winning poker tournaments. You got to take it easy a little bit there. A little bit.
Yeah, no more almost beating up old people. Knock that off.
Yeah, no more almost. Just do it. Beat them up already, man. At least get it. At least go through with it, man. All right, listen. Well, obviously, we're not advocating beating up on old. By the way, 50 years old, that's not old. Like I said, that's mature. All right, listen, let's go to 612. 612, you're on the air. 612, what's on your mind? You're on the air.
Can you hear me? You guys are breaking up.
Oh, Tin Man, what's up, man?
What's up, guys? Just want to rant on a few points. See, nobody's going to remember Evans Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford in another 10 years. Both the frequency with which both the guys fight is like the occurrence of the Haley's format. It's like very rare to see them in the first place, and when they decide to have a fight together, they are not able to reach a deal. So, and PBC is a garbage organization. They can't make any fights. They don't not making any money. All networks are looking for a chance to throw them off their platforms. And David Benavidez Jr. and Senior both need to shut their traps because if Benavidez was really that good, he would have left PBC and joined Top Rank to challenge the light heavyweights. Instead of that, he's sitting on his nuts and re-signed with PBC. So that tells you everything about David Benavidez. Demetrius Andrade should go to some homeless shelter. Anyway,
come on.
The guy is not interested in boxing. He is not interested in boxing. He is a bigger pull-out merchant, I think, now than Tyson Fury. And Tyson Fury, you big gypsy bum, you're not supposed to negotiate $100 million fights on Instagram or Facebook. That's all I have to say. Thanks, guys.
All right. But the Tin Man, always concise and always to the point. Thanks again for your call, man. We'll talk to you later the next time you call in. Take it easy, man.
Bye.
Listen, okay, for people, because I think maybe people weren't listening because of the connection issue here, but he called. He says the Benavideses, including the father, need to shut their traps. He also said that Tyson Fury is a gypsy bum. And he said Wilder needs to go to a homeless shelter. Now, I don't know why. I mean, maybe what? Maybe because those are the only types of people that are going to understand what he says. I don't know. But shout out to Tin Man for his call. For some reason, we're cutting off here too. I don't know what's going on. All right, listen. Don't forget to call in. Phone lines are still open if you want to chime in and give us your thoughts on things. All right. Before we get to the Chris Eubank, Conor Benn thing, I want to get into Shakur Stevenson's low blows. Because he hit, what's his name? Conceição a whole bunch of times low. All right? And there's been other people that have been doing videos. We're not the only one. Other people saw it. At least 5 that I can count on. And I've seen videos on Twitter too, let alone YouTube. The comments that were left in the video we did about the low blows, no, those were borderline low blows. No, they were not. Rewatch the video. It's clear as day. He's hitting him low. Even in front of the referee. There's even one time where he hits him low and Shakur Stevenson is laughing. Number 2, the way some people try to dismiss it. It's like, oh, well, it's part of boxing. Well, it's up to the referee to call it. Well, if one guy gets hit low, it's up to him to do something about it. Well, I don't want to hear people complaining about Conceição clinching him then. Because like I said the day after the fight, the clinches from Conceição were a result of the low blows he was sustaining. Guys, what is it with this new crowd of people that are pro-clinching, pro-low blows, pro-what Andrew Ward would call veteran tactics? What's going on here? Why are people apologizing or making excuses for this? Or justifying it, rather?
Well, it's people who are the fans of those particular fighters. But the thing is, if it was a fighter they didn't like, they'd be bashing it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It is, when it comes to that. But Shakur Stevens, a lot of those, I think what happened was... they're both orthodox against the lefty, right? Weren't they? They clapped heads a couple of times, I believe, in there. I think Shakur thought he was getting, and again, this is just speculation, my 2 cents for what it's worth. I think he was getting a little pissed about it. And I think, delivering his punch, it wasn't like he was changing the angles of them to hit him in the balls, but he knows how far he is. So if you throw up that type of punch, he knows how close he has to be to hit the midsection, how close he has to be in that same range of motion, just 6 inches closer. Now you're going to nut him. You see what I'm saying? But it looks more like it's doing in the throw of the punch. So it looks like it's not being done on purpose. But a professional fighter hits you in a spot he means to. You can only excuse so many. And then it's like, why is he doing it? Is he pissed at this kid? He doesn't like him? And he's hitting him in the nuts and the ref ain't doing nothing about it, so fuck it, I'm going to keep doing it. Then you can, take of that what you want. If you want to complain about Shakur for doing it, you're within your right. But yeah, he was clearly hitting him in the nuts, and I think it was one of those things, if I'm not going to be stopped, why should I stop? And again, that's all speculation.
My thing that I've started to notice, and I'm telling you because it happened to me the first time I really started getting into boxing and sparring and all that, you seem to start respecting the fighters a lot more, obviously, because you're doing it and you're seeing how hard it is. But it also you start to look at ways of maybe excusing that. And I think that's what it is with a lot of fighters, a lot of these fans now. It's not just that they root for the guy, but once they go to a gym, especially in America, and that's where they teach you, well, you got to do what you got to do to win, baby. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. And so they look up to these guys, these trainers, these boxers, and they in turn look up to guys like Mayweather and Andre Ward with their veteran tactics, and they excuse these things, clinching. Oh well, it's up to the referee, it's up to the other guy to do something about it. Imagine if we applied those things to real life. Well, it's up to this guy not to get robbed. Oh, it's up to this woman not to get raped. It's up to you fellas out there to stop being bleached by the military-industrial pharmaceutical complex. I mean, come on. Cheating is cheating.
Yeah.
And these people excusing the low blows.
Yeah, continue. Sorry.
Well, I'm just saying it's disgusting.
I think it's some frustration as well, because if we remember when what's that guy for the fucking PBC's called? The guy that's always doing the little videos, Kriegel. When Kriegel talks about the times that Shakur Stevenson supposedly he doesn't get hit per round, it's like the highest defensive percentages of punches thrown for punches that he didn't get hit, that he's like this amazing defensive fighter. Basically that he hits you and he doesn't get hit in boxing. He's supposedly number one at that, when we saw him fight Conceição, he was getting hit. So to me it seems like frustration. I'm fucking getting hit. I'm not supposed to be a guy that doesn't hardly get hit at all. Now I'm gonna go low, because now we can tell that he's not really as skillful as people portray him to be. Yes, he got some defensive skills, but when people bring it to him like Nakatani, put the pressure. I don't like getting touched up like that by a hard puncher. I'm gonna fucking run. Now by an Olympic boxer, Olympic gold medalist Conceição, I'm getting tagged up because the dude got long arms. Well, let me fucking go low. And the judge, the referee already took a point away from him. So why is he doing that? If you've already noticed, this is what I'm trying to say. If you already noticed that the dude's going low, well, follow up on that. Or did you think that was just enough to placate the people that are watching and say, okay, no, yeah, I am doing something about it. But in reality, I'm really not. I'm just doing the bare minimum. So it's one of those things, man. And if he's such an accurate puncher, why does he keep going low? You're supposed to be accurate.
Excellent points. Excellent point from Gonzalo right there. And let me say something. I think it's also, because, people say, oh, well, it's part of boxing. It's up to the referee. Well, what if, and this is a hypothetical question, what if the referee is compromised? Because I'm trying to look for the low blow here specifically. There's one low blow where, I'm taking the short clip so I can't really see it, but there's one where the referee is right in front of the action. He sees the low blow, and he does nothing. So this whole thing about, it's up. Yeah.
No, sorry. It was a delay. Keep going, brother.
Well, that's what I'm saying. What if the referee is compromised? What is the other guy supposed to do? Because if he goes low, he's probably going to get fucking warned or get a point taken. So what can you do against a compromised referee?
First off, if I was in his corner, they should have been screaming, meeting the ref on the apron, standing there. What the fuck? Should have been yelling at him. It was they were kind of subdued, whether they were saying something that wasn't overly I'd want the crowd to know I'm saying something to the ref, to put the heat on him. You see what I'm saying? To realize, okay, it's getting noticeable. Because if he is compromised, how do you beat that? The only way to beat that is get eyes on him. If he realizes, okay, if as a trainer you just made enough of a stink, now the announcers are going to talk about it. Whoa, he just screamed out. Was he screaming? They're going to play it back. Fucking blow balls. What the fuck you doing out there?
Exactly,
do your job, right? You put that pressure on him. Now he goes back now, again, under the guys. He's compromised. Just being human nature, he's going to be, fuck, this dude just blew my spot up. I'm going to have to start at least saying something. Now, if you force him to say something, how many times can he say it before you deduct another point, right? You can give him two warnings. The third, which used to be an guaranteed, now they give it a third warning, and then they just stop giving warnings because they realize after that point you're supposed to come into the next round. They do it again, benefit of the doubt, one warning, get them up. They do it again, bang, give them a warning. Now, where boxing used to be when I was young, you got two low blow warnings, a third one, they DQ you. It's a big deal to punch a man in the nuts. That's it, dude. You're not. This kid might want to have family someday, you fuck. Was he deliberately? Is he going that deep, really getting on there and pushing them fucking homies up into his belly? No. But enough where it was aggravating. Because the kid, I'm not going to butcher his name. But you could see that. And the thing is, he is an accurate puncher, so that's why I say he wasn't doing it on purpose, or at least. Again, well, Gonzalo, we've talked about it. How you can just a 1 inch closer to a fighter, the landing, the trajectory of that punch changes. 1 step farther back, it changes because of the arc of the punch. So he knew he kept stepping into that, throw that same punch, that looping punch was catching him in nuts. He was almost always in that same position. He's smart enough to know about distance, time, and space to know to stop. All I have to do to stop throwing that punch when I'm in that position. But he kept doing it. So again, it was odd.
I see a little something behind. I see a little something behind that smile, that snide fucking cringy smile. When he goes low, and this might seem like an exaggeration, but it's true. If you think the guy got hand problems, do you really want to throw risk where you throw like when Consensao was like holding his elbows together? Do you want to hit the arm or hit maybe the pointy elbow where you're gonna get your hands hurt and you're gonna be like disabled for the rest of the fight? For sure, if you go low, because you got pretty like brittle hands. If you go low to the soft spots, you're not gonna hurt your fucking hands. So intentionally when I'm fucking greedy and smiling, I'm gonna throw in the soft spots because I know that I'm not gonna fuck up my hand and I'm gonna hurt that guy to the fucking to the soft spots. And
yeah,
you can get away with it. I'm not going to hurt my fucking hands. I'm just thinking that's the way he thinks.
He knows what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing, man. There's no doubt about it. And he did it to Valdez too. Although he didn't do it as often, but he did it. He did it, man. He was hitting him with that straight to the balls. And listen, he wasn't being held down. He wasn't being held behind the head. It was all big old low blows. Just classic low blows. Shout out to Plutonium Loach for his contribution with the super chat. He says, I would pay to see Gonzalo versus Pigeon, son dude, over a What Rapids channel. My money is on Gonzalo. Oh, I mean, Pigeon, you gotta watch out, man.
Hey,
listen. What's up, what?
How many low blows did it take Botha from South Africa before they DQ'd him? Wasn't that many, right? If I remember correctly.
Who are you talking about?
Botha. Remember that heavyweight Francis Botha? Yeah, remember they DQ'd him for fucking low bowling. Who was it that? Was it Riddick Bowe? He kept fucking just punching him in the nuts.
No, you're talking about Golada.
So.
You're talking about Golada, not Botha. Golada.
Oh, okay. Golada. I knew he was South African, wasn't he? Who just kept
Polish guy.
What? It wasn't.
Golada was the Polish guy. Botha was the white South African.
I thought the white South African got DQ'd for low blows in a fight once too.
I don't think.
Check, but I remember that. That was.
But he was that guy at the end. He was using Bo's balls as a speedball. That was just this fucking guy was nuts. Golada. He also got arrested a couple of years afterwards because he had a fake police badge or something. So I mean, this guy. Imagine that, man. Listen, let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to the phone line. Somebody wants to call in here. Let's go to 386. 386, you're on the air. 386, what's on your mind?
Yeah, I heard that Polish Golada was Kevin from Chicago's old man. The
wait a minute. Why you got to throw Kevin from Chicago?
No, but I wanted to comment on this. Like, Jimmy made an excellent point. Like, because Jimmy's from the same neck of the woods as me, hockey players. If me and Jimmy are playing hockey and we drop the gloves and he punches me in the nuts, I'm going to fucking kill him. I mean, in the sportsman manner. Like,
sure.
If you punch, Jimmy would probably whoop my ass, but if you punch somebody in the nuts, like, that's fucking fair game. And if you do it 68 times, like, BDA, what do you do when somebody does that to you?
I mean, I would, like you said, I would punch back, but I don't understand. These guys are afraid, I think. I think they're afraid that, oh shit, if I go low, they're going to DQ me or something. I mean, what else are you supposed to do at that point? Other than complain, which he didn't do.
Some guys just don't do it because they're part of their character. He's just good people. They know it sucks and they're not going to do it.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you, Jackson. I mean,
Well, it could be like the Kovalev Andre Ward shit. You know when Sergey was like, I'm going to end your career? And he did kind of end his career. And Ward just fucking, I mean, he was swinging away for the nuts in there. And that was the first time I had my dad, and we bought a pay-per-view, and it was, Jay-Z bullshit production. And it was a good fight, and like they just ended it. And my dad was like, I'm never gonna watch. He's not like Kezel, man, in these poker tournaments, but like
come on.
He was like, I'm never gonna watch boxing again. And and I was like, they don't all happen like this. I'm like, there's a guy, Mr. You know who he is, and like, and that's when it started. You know, it's a shame because if somebody punches you in the nuts in sparring, like Gonzalo, what would you do?
Gonzalo would
if somebody punched me in the nuts in sparring, I'll probably punch him back low as well. But I don't know. It depends if he hurts you.
Yeah,
like,
you probably elbow him in the face.
Referee, take away a point.
Well, you already know what I would do. I've said it before. If somebody goes low with me, I don't just go low. I go lower. I hit him right in the taint, right in that bone there. It's a very sensitive bone. It's very fragile. You break their taint, guess what? People can't walk anymore. What are they gonna do if they can't walk? They can't fight either. It's a win-win situation. I've said it all along. Anything else you want to say there, Jackson?
Well, BDA is a dangerous guy.
I'm telling you.
I'll punch him in the taint,
No, but
he says.
And that's all I'm saying. Like, we have to distinguish where this belt line is going to be. You can't hit below the navel. So, like, it's frustrating because, like, Spence will throw, like, a couple of really good body shots, and then he'll just ruin it with, like, a shot right to the kahunas. And it just...
Kahunas?
Like, I'm like, Spence, you were the man, but, like, now you're just, like, making an idiot of yourself. It's a shame because a lot of these Eastern Euro guys don't do it, and I don't want to make it about, you know, country of origin.
Seems like that's what you're doing there, Jackson. We're going to have to end this call then. We don't want to get shut down by the YouTube police. We don't want to get shut down by the YouTube police. What do you want from me, man?
I know. I've always been neutral, guys. Everybody have a good night
Mr.
with your
BDA.
crumpets and burritos.
There you go. Eat some burritos, some enchiladas, some flautas. You'll have a good time. Just won't have a good time in the toilet afterwards, but while you're enjoying them, you will. All right, listen. I got to go. By the way, shout out to Medardo Garcia for his contribution with the super chat. He says, Andrew Ward gave Kovalev a free vasectomy. He sure did, man. He turned those balls into guacamole. All right, listen, I gotta go to check on something, relieve myself.
And we also know that he also turned on his corner, turned on him too. He fed his opposition information.
Talking about burritos in the toilet, BD sounded like the dude from Friday, you know, the old man.
No, I like BDA says he punches dudes. I'd punch him in the taint, he says.
Remember that old man, Jimmy, the Friday, the father of the other dude? The black old man, he just passed away like a couple years ago in the movie of Friday. He eats burritos, he's always in the shitter.
Oh, yeah.
Funny guy.
Friday, yeah, remember he said, yeah, oh my God, yeah, give me the hot sauce. Give me that special hot sauce. he's singing and putting the hot sauce all over my burrito, and then he's got to go use the shitter. He's sitting there spraying, and he calls the kid in there while he's fucking dropping load. Ugh.
Funny. I think he passed away a couple years ago. Hey,
Yeah,
one thing. Another thing, Jimmy. Shakur couldn't make weight, so I mean, no big deal. No big deal in this regard. Now he's going to come up to he's going to come right at the limit, most likely of 135. But he couldn't make weight for the Conceição fight. But basically, what I'm trying to say, Conceição did make weight. He was a 130-pounder who was taller and longer than, for example, Oscar Valdez. When you move up to 35, the full-fledged fucking junior lightweight division.
That is
the
lightweight. Yeah.
Lightweight,
It's lightweight, 135, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's so many, I
Lightweight
mix them
division.
up all the time, too.
You're gonna face bigger guys, man, along the same size as Conceição, probably a little bit more bigger, as far as like maybe not as
Harder
tall.
punches.
Yeah, some just as tall or even taller. You're not gonna face like little dwarfs like Oscar Valdez when you were fighting at 130, man. You moved up to 35, and the reason I'm saying this is to say that the guy has hand problems. He can't really hit that hard. Yes, he's a left-hander. He can crack to the liver because it aligns with the left side. He's got good power to the body. But you're going to end up getting more frustrated when you ain't knocking these bigger dudes out. So now we're gonna see how accurate you are, how good is your defense, how many punches you land without getting fucking hit. Because obviously we see the telltale signs against this bigger guy. When I'm talking about like dimension-wise in Conceição, what is going to happen when he faces bigger guys like the Ryan Garcias of the world, the Angel Dos Santos guy that just beat the other guy, Ryan Valenzuela?
Well, the difference is he's going to be fighting guys the length and size of Conceição, but now who are built like him. See, because Conceição is a skinny kid. He's just more of a, his body type is just a skinnier kid. But there's a reason, Gonzalo, as you know, he didn't make weight, and I believe wholeheartedly because there's a lot of there's financial problems with that. The belt, everything. It's embarrassing. So I know he definitely tried to make weight, but what happened was he fucked around too long, and they kept him at 130 too long. This was the camp that, nope, couldn't do it. They realized he got to that point where, hey, any fat coming off now, because they have the fat testers. They probably tested his arms. They even have the goop that you lay in, tells you exactly how much body fat you have. If it gets down to the point where you have to start taking fat or weight off your kidneys and your vital organs, you could run into problems. So that's probably why he had his, and you can usually tell when that's starting to become an issue where you've dieted too much, you're taking off too much weight, is you start getting heart palpitations, your heart starts racing fast, you're getting cold sweats, and you feel hot and dizzy. It's bizarre. I've seen it happen, but I think he realized he was to his limit. But here's the question. Why did they have him stay there that long? Because, to your point, Gonzalo, they know going up, it's not going to get easier. It never gets easier when you go up in weight. They kept him there at 130 because at 130, he was a bigger guy with those attributes he has. The jab, control of time and space, and an accurate puncher, but not an overly hard puncher, right? And that's at 130. Do you honestly think, does anybody think he's going to become a bigger puncher at 135 against bigger guys who've been taking bigger shots? It's going to get exponentially harder for him as he goes up in weight. Not saying he can't still be a dominant fighter, but it's going to be harder. And that's the reason why they kept him at 130 longer. It was, better than him.
He relies on speed and timing as well. All they say is timing beats speed, but this guy... he's young. He's fresh. He can pull the trigger very quick. So he's got speed and timing. But now, not only is he punching less hard against bigger guys. Is that right, Jimmy? He's punching less hard. Yeah, because he's adding weight, right? He becomes a little slower.
Yeah.
Or he's punching. Yeah, he's gonna. The power don't care.
And they're gonna. Yeah,
the power
they're going to be hitting guys. Yeah, and he's going to be hitting guys who are used to getting hit by 135. And
not only the speed and timing. Yeah, you got that going for you, the speed and timing. But also you got to gauge your punches against taller, longer dudes, right? So that takes from your ability to land cleanly like you were against smaller guys like Oscar Valdez, right? Because you got to get your distance. It becomes a little harder against taller guys, right?
Yep, and plus he's going to be facing harder punches. You know what I mean? Again, if this wasn't an issue, if it was good for him to be at 135, don't you think he would have been there 2 years ago or a year ago? They were keeping him at 130 because his attributes are better served at 130. And now here's another thing. His skill set is also doesn't last in boxing as long as other guys. Like if you're just a boxer brawler, a boxer puncher, those guys can actually get sharper as they get older, but his game is speed, all those things that he is dominant of is a young man's game. You know what I'm saying?
Jimmy,
those are things, you don't usually hear those things from the guys in his 30s. What's that, Mr. B-Day?
You know why I think you're right, too? Because, look, he's got an incredible inner radar reflexes because, you watch his fights and you think he's right there to be hit by a left hook. You go, he can't go anywhere. He leans back, which you're not supposed to do. He leans back and then right back up. He's like a spring. He just leans back and he's right back in place within a second. And you go, what the fuck? But you're right. It's not a textbook style. I would never teach anybody to box the way he does, leaning back. Some people like to do that. I certainly don't. But because you got to have good reflexes. And you're right. I think now that you mention it, his unorthodox style is dependent upon that natural talent, the speed, the reflexes. If that starts decreasing, what's going to happen?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, no, it's his style right now. The things that make him great, you'll see a noticeable drop after 28. You'll just start seeing it a little slower, a little, you know what I mean? Because that's just how it is, nature of the game. You're never as quick as you are in your early 20s, your reflexes and all those other things. So, and the more you get hit, that can also affect it. And again, he was able to do the lean back. You can do that when you're the bigger guy. That's nothing.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean. Or also, because he can judge distance. But if you don't have that speed to bounce in and out of there real quick, right? That you're screwed. Like you said, leaning back is a terrible place to be because you got nowhere to go. You know what I mean? If someone gets on you. So, but yeah, those are the things that make him great. And again, I think he's an extremely talented fighter. But the non-power, I believe, will be his downfall because as he continues to go up in weight, including I don't think he's going to finish his career at 135, unless he. But you also punch a little harder, and I got to give him credit. In the last fight, he definitely was turning over on his punches a lot more, especially right in the first round. So I'm going to give fighter credit where it's due, and he definitely was doing that.
Especially on those low blows.
Did Tony have him on the ropes?
What's that?
Nanka, you said, BDA, that he leans back, and Jimmy just brought up something that made me think, if you lean back, you got nowhere to go. But especially if you don't have the room to really lean back because you're against the ropes. And I remember when Nakatani had him there, he was complaining a lot anyways.
Oh, you're right. Well, Nakatila. He didn't have him consistently on the ropes.
Nakatila, sorry.
Yeah, he didn't have him consistently on the ropes, but he certainly got his attention with one punch. And Shakur Stevenson himself said, I didn't like what I felt, so I just I got on my bike. Refresh the stream, fellas. Refresh the stream because we had some connection issues there. Let's go to a phone call, by the way. Somebody's on queue here, and then we'll move on to the fights for this Saturday. A little preview for that. Predictions. 917, you're on the air. 917. What's on your mind?
Hey, Gino calling. Staten, Italy. How's it going, my boys?
Doing fantastic. Who is this again? I didn't hear you.
Hello? Gino. I'm calling from Staten, Italy, a.k.a. Staten Island, New York City.
What's up, man?
Take care, brush your hair.
We're doing good. Hope you're doing fantastic as well, man. What's on it?
Yeah, just want to make a quick comment. This guy goes 135. Let's see how he does against Isaac Cruz. Someone put some pressure on him. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, Isaac Cruz puts pressure.
He's not the biggest guy in the bunch, and he had this guy, he had him frustrated. Gonzaga was right. This guy was, when you grab it and you hold him like that, let me tell you something. It's not because you're having fun in there.
That's a good point. But Isaac Cruz is too short, man. Isaac Cruz is too short, though. How about Haney? How about Loma?
He's short, but come on, man. He put Tank in his bag. You know what I'm trying to say? You put a guy like Isaac Cruz on a pillow-fisted butt muncher like him from Jersey. You see what's going to happen.
Oh, wait a minute. That type of language. It's a family show, man. But so other than Isaac Cruz, realistically, do you think Top Rank's going to match him up against Devin Haney if he gets past George Kambosos this Saturday or next?
Not a chance. It's another against Haney. It's another Terrence Crawford Spence situation, and it's going to take 10 years.
What are you trying to say here?
It just don't see it happening, especially not anytime soon. I mean, the soonest I would see it is 4 or 5 years from now.
You know what the problem is, Caller? You got no faith. Caller, you have no faith. What's the matter with you? You got to have a little faith.
Listen, I mean, he'll give us some good fights at 135, but Haney, the truth is, if he beats Kambosos, he's going straight to 140. He's dropping the belts.
Oh man, yeah, that's what they said too, right? That's true. Haney, that there's rumors out there that Haney's gonna drop the belts if he wins. Yeah, I think we're back. Sorry about that, fellas. Make sure you refresh that gosh darn stream. We've been having connection issues for some reason here. I don't know. Is it the PBC? I'm sure that's what some people are gonna say. I certainly won't suggest that. Hey, I'm back, fellas. I'm back. Sorry about that.
What's going on here, Mr. BDA?
Well, you tell me, man. There's fucking connection issues all over the place today. From my end,
like
of course.
Popsicle stand, YouTube.
I mean, Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, man. It's fucking internet. Hey, listen. Some people are gonna say it's my internet. I think it's YouTube because the internet was working. It's been working fine. I was here all day.
Oh,
yeah.
It might. I've had trouble with YouTube all day today.
Well, that
seriously
could be
at my house. I watch on the TV, so and I don't usually have a problem with YouTube, and it was a problem today. So probably is that.
Maybe, man. Maybe. What else was I gonna say here? Well, listen. While we're here, man, let's move on to the fight here. Saturday's fight. That is, of course, got Benn taking on Chris Eubank Jr. I'm intrigued by this fight for the sole reason of the whatchamacallit, the catch weight. Chris Eubank Jr. said, "Oh, I'm going to be a 60%. I'm going to be 60." Then he's got the gimmick of eating whatever he wants. He's eating what's he eating? Burgers, KFC, having a grand old time. Some people are saying he knows this is a mismatch for him. On the other hand, he's not that much better than fucking Benn. I think they were very similar fighters, by the way. I think I would even say Benn is a little bit better schooled and might go farther in the welterweight division. But for some reason, he's decided to take this fight. He himself said, "I would have been a fool not to take this fight because there's so much money involved." Guys, what are you? What about you? Are you looking forward to the fight? Are you intrigued at all? Or?
No. Well, not really. I think he's a fool for taking the fight. Because why? Why are you taking on a fucking middleweight dude? And like you just said, for the money. That's what's guiding your career. Because if you take a loss on that, I mean, will it affect him? Yeah. Obviously, it's just going to affect public perception. Was it really worth it? You mean you couldn't find a single fucking welterweight to fight? And then I'm saying, okay, well then, why don't you fight someone like Virgil Ortiz? Make that happen. But you don't want to lose to someone in your own division because then, you can't excuse it away. Because if, say, he gets stalked by Chris, although he doesn't seem to usually stalk people, if I remember correct, he fights someone often. But then he was a middleweight. I just don't like it. I don't like this fucking jumping around weight classes and bullshit. Fucking, just not a fan of it.
Yeah, man.
But I'm interested because it's the only fight happening.
Well, I mean, we've got Ocampo Fundora at night over on Showtime, and then there's Adames taking on Montiel. Sounds like a decent little undercard there. But yeah, but
well, I'm interested in Fundora, yeah.
But Gonzalo, what about you, man? What do you think about Benn versus Eubank Jr.?
Well, it's interesting because of the backstory between the fathers, and it's cool. It's probably gonna sell still. It'll be entertaining just watching the people there, the Brits on my TV. And as far as like the weight, man, yeah, that favors Chris Eubank. But I also heard like that he was supposed to be like taller than 6 foot, and I looked up at BoxRec. He's actually 5'11", while Benn is 5'8". My thing with Chris Eubank is he already had his moment. He's 33. I mean, he's not like washed up or anything, especially because he doesn't fight a whole hell of a lot. But his moment already passed. I don't think he's ever been world champion. I think that Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. has a more recognizable career than this guy. This guy is less than stellar, and he's already 33, so his moment already passed. It's supposed to be the 26-year-old Benn's moment. Now, I think when you have the momentum and it's supposed to be your moment, I would have to favor you to win, man. Because the dude's been stale on the shelf, hasn't done shit. So now you're going to take his moment and make it yours? Yeah, well, go ahead and try it. But I'm saying I think Benn is a more live dog. And they pretty much about got the same knockout percentage, but I think actually Benn can probably crack harder. And if you say that Eubank has never been knocked out, okay, I get it. Does he have a hard chin? He's probably got a good chin, but I don't think he has a great chin, because if they say Eubank's best asset is having a good gas tank and a good chin, how come he ain't knocking everybody out? Or has he become world champion? Because he's been pretty scared to fucking mix it up. Because if you got a good gas tank, but you're not that great of a boxer, 70% of fighting is stamina. If you could bring it to somebody, you can break them down and fucking get them out of there. But he doesn't like to get punched. That's what I'm saying. It appears that way. So I think he's not going to knock out Conor Benn, and Conor Benn might hurt Eubank Jr., but I think it'll go the distance, and I favor Conor Benn. He might even end up getting stopped, but with the weight disparity, probably not.
I'm on the fence, man. I'm on the fence because everything you said is true. I mean, the Chris Eubank has the big size advantage, that's for sure. I actually think, some people were trying to say that Conor Benn was 5'9". He's 5'8". And he's high disadvantage, weight disadvantage. That being said,
yeah,
I don't know if Chris Eubank, Chris Eubank is going around eating fried chicken, like I said, eating burgers on camera. Could it be that he really is going to have to struggle to make the weight? Because not only does he have to make the weight, then on top of that, there's a rehydration clause. Maybe he's doing all of this to try to dissuade people from looking at it and thinking, oh boy, he's going to have trouble making, maybe he's trying to play mind games or something. Whatever that the case might be, Gonzalo still has a point. Benn's career has been less than stellar. The guy has a lot of physical talent, fast twitch muscles, fantastic snap on those body shots, that uppercut too. But just physically, I mean, skill-wise, he got tangled up by Billy Joe Saunders and by Groves. He's never fought he never had a championship, even in today's era, where if you get the right contacts and a little bit of skill and talent, you can get yourself a title. There's 15 of them for a division. He couldn't even get one. So there's always been, for a long time, I'd rather say, there's been that stigma on Eubank about how he's not really a fighter. He's just living off his father's name. In fact, I would say he had more natural ability than Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., the aforementioned one that Gonzalo brought up. I don't know how this is going to work because Conor Benn really does seem to be dedicated. He goes out looking for fights in the ring. He makes the fight. He chases guys down. He can crack. Maybe he could outwork Benn. I don't know. Eubank Jr.
Well,
maybe he could outwork him.
I got to stand up for Eubank Jr. there, Eubanky, because didn't he win the IBO?
No, come on. I thought you were going to be
Didn't he?
serious.
No, really. He won that IBO at one time. He was proud as a peacock with that fucking thing, too. All right, here's the thing. Hasn't fucking Chrissy Boyd been fighting at 168 even? Hasn't he gone as high as 168?
Yep.
Man, still at 168. He's fighting guys at 168. I mean, they were punching him in the head at 168. How is a kid who's been fighting a welterweight going to go up and hurt him? His career is whatever career he has will be decimated if he loses to this guy. I mean, that's crazy. He's so much taller, bigger. He's gone as heavy as 168. This kid's coming up from 150, 147, where, yeah, he does crack 147, but you're talking about 154, 160, up to 168. So Eubank's probably already taken some shots as hard as, fucking Ben will hit him, but I don't know. It is kind of curious. Will the rehide, and by him, the eating the food, that's just a psych thing. What it is fighters as they getting closer to the fight date, there's certain dates they have to have it's in the contract. They get weighed. They have to, if you're not at the certain weight by the certain time, the same shit they talked about with not Tommy Fury, but Jake Paul. Remember what's his name was supposed to get weighed on this date, and those. So if he made the weight, say he made the contracted weight what he's supposed to be at that date. So that next day, and if you're dieting, right, eating nothing but fish and rice and just really lean foods, you can eat a fucking double Big Mac or 2 Big Macs because it's such a foreign thing. As long as you don't repetitively do it every day, it'll get washed right through your system. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So you can get away with a cheat meal like that. So is he filming just his cheat meal to show, I don't have to worry about what I'm eating? Strange kid. Listen, he's a professional mitt dancer. You know what I mean? Those choreographed mitt dancing videos. Remember he used to make back in 2015? Everybody was like, ooh and an ahhing. But at the end of the fucking workout, the fucking guy holding the mitts, the one bursting out in sweat, panting like a fucking, like a runaway. So and then he got exposed. Those mitt dancings. I mean, how many times in any fight have you ever seen a guy throw a 19-punch combo? Get the fuck out of here, dude.
Yeah. That shoe shining doesn't work, man. It's flashy, it looks good, but he doesn't even get.
He's a celebrity. He's a celebrity son. He's not just a son of a famous fighter in England. The guy's a celebrity too. He's got TV. Right, the father wears that. Dresses nice. He wears weird spectacle things in his eyes. He's been on. So he's a celebrity son.
Right.
And he's just like, is he just playing it to the fullest extent? We're about to find out. Because if he loses from Benn, that will be his moniker for the rest of his life. You would never
I think he knows
fighter.
that. I think he knows that. That's why he is taking this fight seriously, because there's no way he can lose this fight. And look, people have criticized him for not stepping up, really limited opposition. I mean, look at how. I mean, you got to give him some modicum of credit for winning a wide decision over this guy here that I'm putting up on the screen, Liam Williams. But because Williams can crack, but at the same time, that's really his best opponent. He did it cleaner than Andrade did. Andrade had to clinch his way to a decision. Chris Eubank dropped this guy about 4 times, barely had to clinch. But it's like Gonzalo said, 33 years old already. Time is a ticking. What's he gonna do if he beats? So here's my question: if he beats Benn, he beats a little welterweight. What's next? Is he finally gonna step up at middleweight and fight somebody? Wasn't he supposed to fight one of the Charlos at some point?
Oh yeah, he's always. That's the thing. His name's been attached to so many people, so many times, and they just never come through. And the fact is, so I don't know where his father was coming from. Remember a few weeks ago? Oh, I'll let my son take that fight. I mean, he's not going to fight at this weight. That's going to be too dangerous. I'm not letting him take it. It's like, calm down, daddy. Like, are you serious? Isn't your son in his 30s? What do you mean you're not going to let it happen? Who the fuck are you, dude?
Yeah, what's that about? Is that another gimmick? Is he genuinely concerned, or is that another gimmick? Because you never know with these guys.
Well, he could be genuinely concerned. That still doesn't change the fact that you went on television or you went, and saying that. Like, I'd be like, what the fuck you doing? Why would you humiliate me like that? But it goes to show you, like, I guess it's not just a regular father-son dynamic where you don't talk to your dad. You're like, you're an asshole. You just made me look like a donkey to everybody. This dude, like, worships his father so much. You could just tell, like, his whole life's wrapped around his father. I'm my father's son. And he's one of those guys who has no problem living in the shadows of his father.
Interesting. Now, as for Conor Benn, I like how he fights, man. I like watching the guy fight. He's a little Tasmanian devil. He comes forward. He's got those Spartan trunks, like the old Greek. I don't want to call it a skirt, but whatever it is that they wore. And he goes off on people. He gets on the inside. I like how he bobs and weaves on the inside to dodge punches and then comes right back up. And look, Chris Algieri was past his prime, sure, but he knocked him out. If he would have gone 12 rounds with the fucker, we would have been ripping him a new one. He knocked him out cold. Well, almost cold. Same thing with Chris Van Heerden, Samuel Vargas. So the guy can crack. And I think he's going to be able to get Chris Eubank's respect a little bit. But he's going to have to outbox him, outwork him, whatever. Because knocking him out, Eubank Jr. has a good chin. That's for sure.
And Eubank's, you probably just lay on him, right? Like just just stay in tight. Don't let him get in his zone. Don't be standing in the dude's wheelhouse. Just make sure you're outside of it or too close. And when you're in there, just lay on him and try to not have to take any of his best punches until the 5th and 6th round, when a lot of the steam is off his punches.
Yeah, I'm afraid.
That would imagine be his thing.
I'm afraid that the fight might be boring, because I'm afraid that Chris Eubank Jr. is going to go in there, like you said. He's going to try to do what he did to Liam Williams, just dance around, do his Roy Jones impersonation, and then only later try
clinch.
To turn it up.
Yep.
Yeah. But hopefully I'm wrong.
Dance around, snap punches, clinch anytime it's too close, so he doesn't have to get touched by anything too hard until he, is Roy Jones Jr. still in his corner? He was for a while.
Somebody told me that that's the thing. Somebody told me that he's not, and that he was going to be Senior in the corner. But now Senior's saying, they've been saying that Senior's been, he stayed away from this whole promotion. And I think it's going to be Eubank's old trainer. I forget the guy's name, white British guy. I think that's the guy that's going to be training him. I think. That's what I saw in the previews.
10%.
I mean, hey, listen. This fight sold out the day they announced that the tickets went on sale. So the Brits, they won a good show, man. Listen, the Brits, they just want a chance to go out and drink.
They're starving for good boxing.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's going to be a fantastic atmosphere. Who's on the undercard anyway? Please don't tell me a fucking women's fight. Hold on a second. Let me go look it up. Bada bing, bada boom. Hold on a second. Stephen Fundora, Chris Benn. Yeah, women's fight. Mary Romero versus Eli Scottney. Lyndon Arthur versus the dreaded TBA. Oh, Yafai. Kid Yafai is going to be fighting. Is that the same guy? Galal Yafai? Anyway.
Yes.
And I'll take a couple of leaks during the women's fight. Do something else. But
you're just not into the women boxing at all, huh, dude?
No, sorry, Bob. I can't branch into women's boxing. I'm busy. If I branch into women's boxing, yeah, I can't spread myself too thin. Second Renaissance. We got the Second Renaissance. We're gonna be doing the UFO episode. I still don't know how that's gonna work. I think it's just gonna be me babbling on about UFOs because I don't know how many people can actually, cooperate with that subject. But we'll see. Contact me on the Discord if you get any ideas for that. But as for the boxing here, so Conor Ben, Chris Eubank Jr. Hopefully it's a good fight. Hey, you know what they just announced? And I was very, very pleased hearing this. Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, Estrada 3. They picked out a venue. It is happening in December, I believe. Hold on a second. Yep, Saturday, December the 3rd. Listen, I need a big fight for December. I need a big fight for the end of the year. And I hate to say it, Zurdo Ramirez versus Bivol doesn't really do it for me because I think I'm going with Bivol on that one. I don't think Ramirez beats him. So I need this fight. And so for the moment, it's Estrada Chocolatito number 3. It is happening unless fucking Estrada pulls out or something. I think he's going to come back in shape, unlike his last fight, which he almost lost. He's looked sensational against better opposition. I have to give him the benefit of the doubt for that lousy performance. And then on the undercard, check this one out. You got Mike Williams Arroyo taking on Martinez, the rematch of that no contest they had about a year and a half ago. Fellas, what do you think about this?
Yeah, it's a good card, man. I like Chocolatito. Yeah, I mean, it just, as he gets older now, though, and he's not punching as hard now, he's depending more on his combinations and just that type of thing. I just wish he still had the power he had when he was younger, but that, or the pop that he used to have. But you got to love him. He's one of the best ever in that weight division. Chocolatito is first ballot Hall of Famer to the point they got to carry his ass in. It's unbelievable. Nothing but reverence should be spoken on him. Sorry, Gonzalo. What's that?
No, it's just, it seems like, I just want to say, I think Estrada is also aging. He's aging as well. They've been around for a long time.
Yep. I think Estrada's kind of wanted him to age out a little bit too. Sorry.
I keep saying that, because I was always under the belief, and it's true, but I've been waiting to see it. When you get older, it provides for a better fight because you're not as sharp as you used to. So it becomes more of a barn burner. And I kind of thought that was going to happen with Golovkin, yeah, but now Canelo's in his prime. You have to have two guys that are kind of equally dulling. You know how you say, like, iron sharpens iron, Jimmy? It's kind of like the backward effect, but still, these are world-class fighters. It'll be, I think, at some point I'm waiting for that fight that'll be like Gotti Ward 3. Where they were good quality fighters, but past their prime, to when they meet, man, they're catching each other. And it's for an entertaining fight. Hopefully, because also Estrada's a counter puncher, so yeah, as long as Chocolatito keeps throwing punches the way he does, man. And it's kind of ironic that the only clear loss that Chocolatito has had, I think he's lost twice, but to include Estrada. But the one he had against the Thailandese guy, I think that's how you say it, his trainer had died. So I don't know, man. That was just an all-time great. I thought he beat Estrada's second fight, but we'll see this third fight. Yeah, I'm definitely excited.
Yeah, he absolutely beat him. I thought it was a robbery, absolute robbery. And I think Estrada pulled bullshit. I think he played games with COVID, and I think he played games with the mental fucking whatever. I'm not mentally prepared, he said. I think he's just trying to age the dude out. I don't think he wanted to go through that again. I think that he knew he lost, but whatever. Kind of pissed me off, the games he played.
Chocolatito, you could argue, was the fighter of the 2010s. This guy was on a rampage. Barely got a competitive fight in there sometimes. That's how good he was. And like Gonzalo said, that he looked off in that Sarong Visa rematch. He looked off. And because, he beat him. I thought he beat him the first time. It was a very tough fight. Sorongvisa is a big puncher for his weight class. And okay, so you could argue that he's only really had one legitimate loss, and he might have had a good reason for losing that fight because he looked flat in the rematch against Sorongvisa where he got knocked out, I believe, the 4th, 5th round. So this guy is a talent. You saw what he did to Martinez in his last fight. Just showed that there's levels to this. And really, I don't know if Martinez is going to be the same again after. We'll see on the undercard.
And the one time I get to see Chocolatito live, it's the one he gets knocked out. Talk about
you went to that one?
Deal. That was at Triple G Jacobs.
That was the first fight. That was where he lost the decision. Highly controversial.
Oh, lost the decision. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's how he lost. I thought he got knocked out. I forgot. It's been so many years, already 6 years. Yeah, he lost.
So you went to see that one, huh? You went to see Golovkin Jacobs, huh? Good, man.
Yeah.
But listen, Estrada,
great atmosphere, boy.
I think we talked about this before that Estrada might be done, like Gonzalo said, and that's because look, he's 32 years old. He started boxing, I believe, in 2008. That's 14 years, almost 15 of him boxing, and he's been very active. He's had a couple of tough battles in there. You got to remember, not everybody ages like Chocolatito there in those lower weight classes. Some guys, it's like the old school.
Like Donaire.
Or like Donaire, yeah. Some guys do age.
That's an anomaly, though.
But that's what I'm saying. So maybe Estrada is not the exception that breaks the rule. Maybe he is the rule. He's one of those guys that at 33, 34, he might be past it.
I've seen enough of Estrada to know, because he's a counterpuncher, he need to get his timing and his distance down against Argui Cortez and Cuadras to know that he's a late starter. And if you jump on him like Argui Cortez and Cuadras, then you can have success because he's not going to be able to unscramble things and put things together. So if this is a third fight, if it's an extension of the other two, and Chocolatito, hey, I'm not going to take 2-3 rounds to figure this guy. I'm going to jump on him. Like fucking white on rice. Right on him. I think he's going to have success banking, putting the first few rounds in the bag. So Estrada definitely needs to pick it up quicker. He can rest on his laurels until he thinks he's going to figure things out. Obviously, timing and distance is something that you can't go by whatever happened in the second fight because it's a new, in real time, this is a new scenario. You still have to get the timing and distance. But what I'm saying, if you're Chocolatito and you kind of know the style already, well, get on him. And I think Estrada will suffer in the first rounds, man, because he's counterpunching. You need to figure that shit out. And Argui Cortez and the other guy, Cuadras, when they jumped on, I think Cuadras was able to drop him too. So we'll see.
You know what's interesting about that is Estrada is a very good fighter. At this point, he's a solid pro, current physical state notwithstanding. He knows how to fight on the inside, outside. He's always in tremendous shape. Well, except in this last performance, he looked, like I said, off. But he's got a great stamina tank. The bullets he showed against the prime Gonzalez in their first fight, Gonzalez would open up with a combination, those type of combinations that would usually drain fighters. And once he was done, Estrada would come right back with something. This guy's got a tremendous will and tremendous stamina. And in the first fight, it's interesting, Gonzalo, you mentioned that because I think Estrada started out quickly in the rematch. He tried to flip the script on Chocolatito. But the problem is when he fights Chocolatito is just as better, if not a little bit better, throwing combinations. He's just a little bit better defensively as well, and he hits harder. So either Estrada needs to outwork him or outbox him. And as we've seen in both their fights, he can't really do that. He does very well compared to everybody else, don't get me wrong. He's actually able to keep up with Chocolatito, which, like I said, it's not something everybody can do, but that's not enough to conclusively beat him. And yeah, those scorecards in that second fight, I thought Estrada handled himself well in the fight, but it wasn't enough to win. And now that he looked awful against Argui, and listen, Argui, you got to give him credit. He had a great Nacho Berenstein in his corner. If you'd watch his previous fights before the Estrada fight, you would have noticed that this guy was improving tremendously, even though he was. See, a lot of people watch that and they look at TV Azteca fights when these guys fight each other, and they got records of 22 wins, 3 losses or something. People go, those guys suck. They're very, very tough. It's like in the Philippines. If you see a fighter come out of the Philippines and he makes it all the way to the United States and he's dangerous, and people actually hold him in high esteem, it's because he had to go through the Shark Tank in the Philippines. Same thing with Mexico. If you make it out of there, you can pull off an upset. Just ask Josh Warrington when he fought Mauricio Lara. A lot of people thought, Lara, who's this guy? He's never fought anybody. Oh, Warrington was in there for a surprise. So you just never know. So Mexico is a Shark Tank too. And that's the same thing with Archie. He might have been better than some people thought. Or maybe Estrada was awful in that fight. Physically compromised. We'll see. We'll see December the 3rd. Hopefully no hedgings occur. And we can actually get that fight finally. The third rubber match was supposed to happen in 2021. Just one last thing. What the fuck is... Apparently Tank Davis is throwing Floyd Mayweather under the bus on Twitter and Instagram, and then he takes away the post again. What's that about? Anybody know?
It's like, I don't know, maybe they got their relationship, like, I don't know, like Tank is probably like Mayweather's son. Because I think Mayweather's got a child and she's always blasting him. And she forgives the daughter. It's a girl. But now considering Tank's is like his own son, possibly, man, he's probably acts like one of the children. You know, you say something and later you might regret it, but Mayweather will be forgiving to you. And it's not like he's the god, you know. Tank Davis has a right to say things for the sake of his career. I mean, I'm not gonna like bow down to Mayweather. Oh, sorry, Dad. Or I fucked up. You know, he's got to work for you, man. So it's basically you meet my needs. You know what's up with Tank's career, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's interesting that we made a short video where we're showing that there's a specific combination that Tank Davis can't seem to avoid, and that's when a guy starts off with a right hand either to the body or upstairs, and then follows it up with a bit of a corkscrew left or a standard left hook, and he's a sucker for that move. And so we just played that clip over and over from Gamboa hitting him with that one, Barrios stunning him with that one. And some of the comments were 2 or 3 comments were like, well, now show Garcia getting hit. And I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. We all know Garcia gets hit. That's if you're a Tank Davis fanatic, you already got it in your head that Ryan Garcia sucks, blah, blah. So the reason why I made that clip was because I wanted to show people, hey, listen, Tank Davis is not infallible. He's not invincible. He can be hit as well. And he's never really fought that many bigger punchers. Isaac Cruz was one of the exceptions. I guess Barrios had a good right hand. If you want to get down to it, yeah, okay, he had a good one. Who else was a big puncher? Gamboa was shot. Well, he wasn't even a big puncher, lightweight. Who else? Well, what, the Argentinian guy that they got to move up from 126 pounds? Leo Santa Cruz was no puncher. So what I'm saying is, Ryan Garcia has speed and power, and now he's backing guys up. And if he doesn't want to back a guy up, he can always use his length. So I don't see this as a mismatch. Would I favor Tank Davis? Yeah, maybe. But it's going to be a gunfight. It's going to be a shootout, that fight. Power versus power, speed versus speed, if it happens. Some people are saying now there's... Yeah.
When I watched the Leo Santa Cruz fight, I know that Tank Davis, like y'all know that he knocked him out. No? But there was like an instance right before the 5th round when Leo Santa Cruz put together like a barrage of punches that had Tank staggering, not because Tank was staggered, because he was like fucking bamboozled. He was like, oh man, here comes a flurry from this guy that don't really punch that hard. And you could see he had a little bit of a hard time getting his wherewithal together. So man, yeah, Ryan Garcia is a bigger puncher, a bigger dude, different dynamics.
Yeah, I know I'm not, everybody, like a lot of people are like, oh, Tank's going to knock him out. And yeah, he's chin up, but he I'll tell you right now, he punches every bit as hard as Tank, if not harder. He's got faster hands. Tank's fought nothing but shit. I just got to say one thing. I went on Twitter after there was, he put on a video talking about how he ran into Tank at some nightclub, I guess, in Los Angeles. Excuse me. And he approached him and said, so when are we going to fight? And Tank was like, I just ran his mouth at him. And he's like, oh, so it's like that? He's like, yeah, it's like that. There's no respect. Yeah, there's no respect. I guess he got up and he was thugging him. He grabbed him by his shirt and grabbed him by his chain. And, Garcia didn't do anything. But the point being, everybody kind of ragged on Garcia, like, oh, fucking punk, pussy, they would fucking smack him. It's like, I'm not going to give the kid a hard time for not fucking getting in a fist fight in a nightclub where the bouncer's going to jump right on him, where the fucking, you could break your hand. That's stupid. Never mind the fact that, why would I do that when we get millions of dollars to knock you out, to fight you? So when he went on saying like, you know what I mean? I respected his honesty about the fact that he's not a thug. He's not a street kid. That's not who Garcia is, never claimed to be. So I just thought the shitty cop for that was just obviously by people who just don't like him. But I thought, you know what I mean? I thought he was honest about the way he handled it. And I thought fucking Tank did how Tank is going to respond to things his whole life. Like a thug because he doesn't know any better. That's the only life he knows. And he talks about it when he gets angry. You know, he talks about shooting people. So.
Nigga need help over here.
You know what? He actually said, Ryan Garcia, I think he said that. He said, I'll whoop your ass in the ring. I don't need to prove anything in the club. I mean, listen, what would you guys rather have? Would you rather have, instead of Ryan Garcia acting like a fruit or half a fruit outside, would you rather have him getting into trouble and getting arrested and not making any fights? I mean, this guy already took 2021 off because he had some mental problems. Now you want him to what? Would you rather have him like Tank Davis getting into scuffles, running people over and then driving away, now having to go to court over that, having his mugshot plastered all over the place? Is that really what you want from your fighters? Because if it is...
No, he showed a lot of maturity. He did the right thing. Exactly. Plus, Gervonta's got to go to court for some other stuff that I saw on the internet as well. So, I mean, that guy's pretty, like, fucking, I don't know, hard-headed, stupid.
He's got domestic charges he's dealing with, I believe, out of Florida. And then the hit and run, I had reported on the show, not that I'm a media, but I reported that it was already taken care of. I was reporting what had actually, because first the DA and him agreed on charges. I agreed on a plea bargain. Okay, then once you agree on a plea bargain with the DA, okay, that's now you bring it in front of the judge, and it's usually wrapped up. The judge says, okay, you agree to this, and he signs off on it. Here's the kicker. The judge in Baltimore said, no, I'm not accepting this plea bargain. This is nothing. This kid's getting nothing. He's walking away scot-free from sending 4 young people into 2 of them intensive care, but 4 of them into the ambulance. I mean, he jacked these kids up, and he ran from the scene. So the judge's like, no, we're going to go to trial on this. So that's not good, man. So that means they want to fucking at least do something. And so, yeah, I know things are pretty fucked up for him right now. So kind of crazy that's where he went, was grab him by his shirt. But again, that's who he is, man. He's the kid's a thug, and he wanted to act like a thug in front of his boys. And Garcia handled it like maturely. Like, dude, this isn't who I am, dude. I'm here to talk to you about business. You want to have this fight? You want to make it personal, like we're going to fucking roll around on the floor like a couple of fucking pigeons fighting for a French fry? Fuck out of here.
Why do you always bring up the French? I mean? Why do you always bring up the French fries when people have a scuffle?
Because I do that. McDonald's, dude, we used to fucking throw French fries, and these fucking pigeons you throw one out there, these 2 fucking pigeons would almost kill each other for that fucking thing. Oh, yeah, we used to call them the pigeon fights. Oh, yeah, we kids used to throw them out there to them. Oh, my God.
I thought you were saying pigeons. I thought that was like Massachusetts slang for 2, idiots fighting. And I thought people were actually fighting over French fries. That's what I thought.
No. It's expression 2 pigeons fighting over a French fry.
At least you give them rice. I heard that if you give them rice, they explode them. The pigeons. I don't know if that's true.
Well, no, certain birds can't vomit. And if you give them Alka-Seltzer, not that I want to tell people to do that to go kill birds, but especially seagulls. If they swallow a whole Alka-Seltzer tablet, they'll fly away, and then poof, their insides blow up and they fall from the sky. But so many people are doing it in Massachusetts that they started giving big fines, like the fucking park people. Yeah, they were catching kids and they would give them like $1,000 fine because the kids would be throwing Alka-Seltzer to the fucking seagulls because they're fucking dumb animals. They'll eat anything, them fucking freaks.
Yeah, man, that's why you gotta watch out with those animals, man. I saw a video of one of those, I don't know what you would call them. I don't know if it was a seagull. It wasn't a seagull. It was one of those birds, big birds, who's got like some sort of a skin patch under the beak. What's it called? No, it's not a pelican. No. But anyway, it was one of those big birds, and it went after a pigeon. It just swallowed the pigeon whole in the park in front of kids, and then, the people were terrified.
Storks will do it. Yeah, storks will eat pigeons. Storks, they'll eat anything. They eat fucking rabbits, fucking gophers. I've seen them suckers take down all kinds of mammals. Crazy.
You know which ones are angry birds? The ducks, man. Ducks are fucking crazy.
Geese are the worst.
Geese.
Yeah,
no,
geese
I meant to say
man.
geese.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking geese, man.
Geese
It's
and,
all over here in Northeast, dude. Canadian East, man. Yeah, no, they'll go after small dogs, children, because you'll see kids start feeding the Canadian geese, right? Oh, look at this. They come almost take it out of your hand. And then when you run out, they start fucking pecking at you and shit. You see parents running with little kids and these geese chasing them. I'm like, I kick those things so many times because they don't get away from you.
You know how you control them, Jimmy? You grab them by the tail from the back and you pull them up, straight up. They won't do nothing.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah. Well, the Canadian geese, these motherfuckers, like, dude, they're big. They're like 3 feet high, like, and they got big, wide fucking wingspans, and they come at you pretty. But if you give them a good kick, they usually take off.
Yeah, I don't want to hurt animals, but I mean, if he goes after me, starts pecking at my balls, I'm gonna have to do something about it.
And they bite hard.
I'll give him 50 minutes. I'll give him 50 minutes to touch my balls, but then afterwards I gotta do something. But look, the ones the ones that are also dangerous and they're big as fuck too are the fuck, I forget the name. the European ones with the long ass neck, cisnes. How do you say cisne? The swans. There's the swans. Yeah,
the swans. Okay.
Yeah, those are big as shit too, and they get angry too. They scare dogs away once they open up their wings. And they stretch that neck out, they get fucking big, man. But anyway.
And they got a long leg span, right, BD? Like if you're running, they'll fucking catch you, no problem.
Yeah, man, but they're beautiful animals, though.
Imagine trying to run away from a fucking ostrich. No. God damn.
Yeah. But what was I going to say?
Believe it or not, that's a bird. An ostrich, you just put your hand on their chest. Believe it or not, if you just put your hand on their chest and hold them out, they can't kick you. That's how they tear you up. Ostriches, they don't bite. They got that dew claw thing, like, you know what I mean. They kick you and they'll disembowel you.
Which which bird?
Ostriches, they kick you.
I knew that there's one in Australia, one animal, one like a bird-like creature who looks like a dinosaur, or that looks like a dinosaur. I know those guys can scratch you up pretty bad and make you bleed. If they get you into femoral
artery. What are they called? Yeah, the Agaway. No,
something like that. Yeah,
they get that big bump on their head.
But you're saying
they're nasty, dude.
But you're
saying
fuck around
with those things. People die every year from those. What's that?
But you're saying ostriches can do that too?
Oh yeah, no, ostriches, dude. But they live amongst lions and cheetahs. In fact, cheetahs now and then will take one down, but usually not the males. They're too big. I mean, ostriches will chase a jeep. Yeah, I mean they go over 6 foot tall and they're way over 200 pounds. They're flightless, but yeah, they'll boot you so hard. They have a claw on them, but they'll disembowel you. Some people say this, they're throwbacks of the raptors. I mean, dinosaurs are supposedly, had feathers on them now, and like whatever the one from Jurassic Park had that claw that was in the middle of their foot. Same principle. Same thing with ostriches. They that's how they get you, not the bite. It's they'll kick you and they'll literally split your belly open.
What a disgusting animal!
No joke.
Like the Velociraptor, the little one. Yeah, man.
Yep, the Velociraptor. Yep, same principle. They kick you.
Well, you know what? If we ever get what's his name, Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis, expect somebody to get hurt. Just like if you go near an ostrich. Those motherfuckers can crack. Hey, they're like animals too. They're like little dinosaurs. Yeah, those guys are. Well, actually, Tank Davis. The fuck.
Yeah, the thing with Ryan, what makes him dangerous, especially he's tall, he's long, and he can crack. He's got that lead left hook. So when you're facing a shorter fighter, if you can keep him on the outside and you just swipe that lead left hook and clip him. When you're supposed to clip him, I mean, when you catch him, you're going to hurt that guy. And if Tank keeps coming forward, hey, just push him back. Push back with your feet and keep him at bay, at distance, and keep throwing that jab and that lead left hook. The only reason that I think, no, not the only, but I mean, you're going to get caught in boxing, but with Luke Campbell, left-hander, long-ass arms. He threw it with conviction, like, no, I'm going to catch this dude in the head. And he caught him, but he threw a long punch from the outside.
That was a flash knockdown. I didn't. Did you see? I didn't see him any leftover, any visual, or leftover. He wasn't still get up shaky. I thought he shook it off right away. It looked to me like it was one of those off balance.
I don't know. I thought he was stunned when he got hit because he dropped like a sack of potatoes. He wasn't just a little ballot. You know what I mean? But
you couldn't even flash. A flash knockdown doesn't mean like you didn't go out. You can even go out for a split second. But that's the difference between someone who can take a beat and someone who can't. Like there was, I was just actually watching a fight with Oliveira, the Mr. Knockout. Remember that Mexican brawler? Ruben Olivares.
Oh yeah, Ruben Olivares, El Puas. Yeah.
I was just watching one of his fights, dude. He must have knocked this dude like 20 times. Dude kept getting up. That's why in Vegas they started with the 3 knockdown rule. Back in the day, dude, the guys would get knocked down, keep coming up. Some guys, they get hurt, but they can shake it off. And then there's guys, they get hurt, that's it. Now, see, that's the problem, I think, with Haney. When he got shook against Linares, he was shook for a while. Maybe it was because it was the first time he was ever shook that bad, but remember, he carried that into the next round.
Right.
He was still not solid on his legs. His legs weren't out from under him. And although Linares can catch hard, he did catch him with a big shot. And I'm not saying he's, chinny. I don't think he's chinny like that. A lot of people said because Linares did catch him with a real good shot, and he didn't go down. Was shook.
Do you think that has a lot to do, possibly, that it's a big burden on your shoulders when a lot is expected out of you and you're protecting that that if it were like a Mexican dude and he got dropped when there's not a lot on the line, you would just get up because, it's just me. Just getting up, shaking up the cobwebs or whatever. But now you got that added pressure. If you're Haney and you get hurt, all of a sudden you're supposed to look like $1 million, and now you're exposing yourself to the world. I mean, I don't know, man. That's a lot of pressure. That's why sometimes it's the fucking old goals. It's cool. It's like whatever, man.
Yeah, no, I understand that part of it. Yeah, get rid of just get that pressure off you. But shake when you're hurt, shaking it off. A lot of it has to do with conditioning. I can't stress that enough. If you're in good condition, you can take more of a beating. When you're sucking air, you get put out easier, and you don't recover as well. That's the whole thing about fight shape. Great fight shape. Your body can just take a beating, and you have the legs under you. Second nature type shit.
Yeah, that's a good point, Jimmy. And these people are thinking that Tank Davis just walks through Ryan Garcia. I mean, look, may I remind these people that I remember when Santa Cruz was going to fight Tank Davis, and some people were saying, he's going to walk through Santa Cruz. Okay, yeah, he did walk through him, but he had to walk through shots, and he was taking the shots. He wasn't stunned, but he was getting hit clean, and his face was being marked up. Those are some.
And he should have been called for knockdown. Remember when fucking he went to? It looked like they said he fell or tripped.
Right.
Oh shit! He went down after taking a shot. Remember that when Santa Cruz threw that combination, came across the ring.
Yeah, I'd have to watch the replay because apparently somebody was saying on Twitter that if you watch the legs, he got tangled up. I don't know. But the point remains.
He got tangled up because of the punch. You know what I mean?
Right.
The punch is what made him get tangled up. I thought he should have been called for knockdown, but it was a PBC card and he was the house fighter.
Well, let me look it up just for posterity. By the way, some rando, just like Hawker Mustang, he's calling him Septic Tank Davis. That's nickname. I don't know how people come up with these distortions of nicknames. They're very mean.
I've heard that kid called what? I've heard him called Prank Davis, Duck Davis. Prank. I think that's pretty funny. Duck Davis. I mean, what do they call him? Duck Davis, the bum slayer.
No. See, now that's too far, man. See, people are very vicious on the internet. I don't like that. I don't like fighters being bullied online. But I will say this, Jimmy. I'm gonna look for the clip just because I want to clear that up. I want to see if he did indeed trip or not. But can I also say, when it comes to Tank Davis's quality, are people out there forgetting that fucking Rolly Romero was giving him the work before he got knocked out? So that's what the Tank Davis is doing.
He was losing rounds. Yeah, fuck me. He was losing rounds to Rolly, the short bus from Morrow.
For that performance, I was gonna say they all have something that you can pick apart, but for that, I don't give him a lot of what I have to say is that I thought he was setting a trap for him. Like, yeah, you get busy, you come to me, you get comfortable, and bam. That's why it's like, all right, it's whatever. It's like Canelo versus
Amir. It took him 6 rounds to do it. It took him 6 rounds. You could set a trap for Rolly Romero. You could set a mouse trap with that zip ahead, and he'll walk into it in the first 10 seconds. He's stupid. He has no fight IQ at all. He comes forward, repetitive action. It's just he has to be in a certain position to throw that uppercut, and he caught him. But just his reaction to the win, remember? He acted like he just took out fucking fucking Muhammad Ali gets up on the ropes, he's screaming to the crowd like, yeah, dude, you just stopped fucking a kid. If he wasn't a professional boxer, he'd be lucky if he got a job bagging groceries.
Nah, come on.
Out of here.
Come on, man.
Be honest, man. That dude's something, dude. That kid ain't right. I'm telling you right now. If they had to take an IQ test to say like it's against the law for mentally retarded people to fight in Las Vegas, that kid might not get his license. And I'm being straight up honest.
All right, but listen, I'm not even gonna touch that one. But I will say this. I will say this to Gonzalo's point about him sending him up for one shot. I agree. He was looking for that one perfect punch, and that's the problem with Tank Davis. He was falling behind. Well, I think he was beating Barrios, but he was doing just enough to win. Now, some people could say, well, why not? If that's how he wants to fight, maybe he could step in. Their reasoning is he conserves a lot, and because he's looking for the one punch, so he's okay with that. But then when he had to really step it up against Isaac Cruz, he didn't do it. And may I remind people too that when he fought Leo Santa Cruz, he had tried to step it up, I believe in the 4th round, 5th, and then he had to take the 5th off. Because what I'm trying to get at is, I don't think he conserves energy because he's looking for the one perfect shot, and he's got these reserves of energy that he can pull out if he wants to. No, I think his style is dependent on very fast twitch muscles, and I don't think he can throw that many shots. Like I said, against Santa Cruz, he had to step it up. Then he had to take a break. Against Mario Barrios, fucking Floyd Mayweather had to come in and tell him, look, listen, the fight's very, very close. You got to knock this fucker out. Against Isaac Cruz, he never stepped it up. And then he blamed the wrist, which, by the way, how do we know if he was really injured or not? That seems to be the go-to excuse for a bad performance. So, and then against Romero, he was waiting for one punch. So you get what I'm saying? I think there's a pattern here of him just not being that active in the ring. I think that's his style. He wants that one shot, and he's not confident in his stamina. But anyway, listen.
Yeah. His training camps are fat camps, dude.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's funny. That's true, BDA, because who said it, Jimmy? Or that 19 punch combination on the pads when talking about Eubank. I saw him do that with his trainer. I don't forget his name, but anyways, he's before the Cruz fight. The Pitbull Cruz, he was throwing on like a barrage of like 19 punch, 20 punch combination on the mitts. But in the actual fight, no, it was few and far between. Onesies and twosies. So that's how he fights in the fucking inside the ring. It's weird that they train like that, but inside the ring it's different.
Right. Yeah, you're right. Look at his punch stats if you don't believe me. I have him in a folder somewhere. He's that type of guy. He's not going to throw a lot of shots. And for anybody to expect him to walk Ryan Garcia down, maybe he could. Maybe he could pull a Santa Cruz and eventually get him out of there. But he's going to have to walk through some fireworks to get there. And I don't know if that's possible. And like I said, the Romero fight, I agree with you, Gonzalo. I do think he was sending him up for one shot. But then you gotta ask yourself, is it a Wilder situation? Where what happens if he doesn't land that big shot? Can he do enough to win a decision? We shall see if indeed that fight ever manifests. By the way, I have the slow motion clip here of the knockdown, and I think it's a little bit.
I don't see why that fight would manifest. I mean, they've never made an attempt to fight outside of the. You know what I mean? And how many times has he come out? I mean, the last time Mayweather said anything about him was, Shakur should fight. Haney, just leave my guy alone. Leave him out of here. Like they just, you know what I mean? Like he has no intentions of cross promoting. I'd be shocked. I mean, the fact that he's not with Bob Arum makes it better, but I still would be shocked. I just honestly think he's going to use Garcia's name for the press until they line up another fucking no-hoper for him to fight.
Yeah, you're right, man. That's true. He said it. Mayweather said it himself. We want to keep things in-house, and they've got a Isaac Cruz rematch. And let me tell you something. Romero gets himself a couple of tune-ups. He might be in line for another rematch as well. Don't put it past them to do that. Like, oh, well, look at Romero. He's come very far since that knockout. And then they're going to bring the fact that he was winning rounds. They're going to go, well, he was giving Tank the work. So now imagine him improved. Now imagine an improved, and that's how they're going to market it. I'm telling you, I'm seeing it.
Of course, so he'll put the smell of beast fucking spin.
Oh.
Nostradamus.
Oh.
I mean, that guy's just a fucking absolute clown. The fact that him and fucking Espinoza would go online on Twitter and start fucking about the fucking number of pay-per-views sold. Like DAZN put out a press release, for the love of God, and they're liable to whatever they say. And for him to go on there and just like mock it, so it's like, dude, you won't even fucking do that. Like these people at least doing that. It just, I thought they lost. I don't know. Ellaby to me is he's just a mental patient. Seriously. I mean, Floyd's own uncle, who meant more to Floyd than anybody. And Floyd said it many times. His uncle was the closest person to him. Straight up said, "Who is he? What does he do? You tell me. I don't know what the fuck he does." And they said, "Well, he's the CEO of Mayweather Promotions." He goes, "The fuck does that mean?" You know what I mean? Like they got one fighter. He's got one fighter. He's on there telling Eddie Hearn, "Oh, pipe down. We're doing big things over here." What? You going to watch Floyd fight on fucking FIT? The fuck are you talking about doing big things? You got one fighter, you knucklehead. What are you going to go pick up fucking Floyd's laundry and get cast in all his cars in one day?
Remember when he supposedly fired him about 10 years ago? Long time ago. He supposedly fired him.
Yeah, of course. And then he finally took him back because he was standing outside his house with a fucking jukebox over his head, crying all night. So Floyd finally said, "Fuck, all right, come back in, Jesus."
And I swear to God, I read in the Ring magazine. I swear, I'm almost certain that I read in the Ring magazine. It mentioned a paragraph in a certain writing that they were alluding to that Leonard Ellerbe was in love with Mayweather. And that's the reason he always wore the glasses. Because behind those glasses, you cannot see what he's thinking.
You don't have to look behind the glasses in that video. Haymonites tweeted it out. Did you guys see that fucking video? He's rubbing the dude's chest down like they were on their honeymoon. And the music he played it to, fucking Jodeci, Bump and Grind or whatever, that was fucking hilarious. But no, he was rubbing him down and shit, like looking lovingly into his eyes. Like, holy fucking shit. Dude, think about it. He was never Mayweather's first trainer. He was the second. If you look at how he was labeled, he was the second corner guy. He wasn't a cut man. It's like Roger Mayweather's like, what does he do? Seriously, tell me, what's he do? What does he bring to the table? He's a yes man he's a propagandist, and he goes and picks up Floyd's laundry. That's what this fucking idiot does.
But wait a minute. Didn't Senior also at some point allude to I think he just said it straight up that he's homosexual.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it. Is he married? I guess, isn't he supposed to be married? Not that matters.
Yeah, but it's like
there's plenty of dudes who are married and fucking puff on the side, but
exactly. I mean, what's the guy?
I wouldn't doubt it. He doesn't. I don't know what he does. I know he lies with almost every breath he fucking musters when he tweets. He straight lies. He uses these nebulous terms that don't mean anything. He's the most exciting fucking fighter in boxing. Shut up, dude. The reason why we have belts and rankings in sports, one thing good about sports, there's something you could attribute to the fighter. Is he the number one ranked? Is he, you know what I mean? Is he the world champion? No, he's the most exciting, sells the, most exciting. What the fuck does that even mean, dude? And if he, then his next fallback thing is, the money he makes. Why the fuck would I care how much you're paying that knucklehead? Like,
but you know what, man?
Completely lost the cause. What's that, brother?
Ellerbe is the type of guy that he kisses Mayweather's ass. That's the type of guy that Mayweather needs around him. A guy that's going to kiss and lick that ass and give him props and tell him how awesome he is. Now, take this with a grain of salt. But in this Boxing Forum 24 post, somebody said, Leonard Ellerbe is a known homosexual, as confirmed by Floyd Mayweather Sr. in an interview. I need to find that interview because I remember that's what I read it. I don't know if it was Boxing Talk, Max Boxing, whatever. I know Mayweather Sr. at some point said that the guy is batting for the other team.
And also, you think BDA has to, Jimmy? You think it has something to do with you're enamored with the prospect that well, you got everything in the world with this guy, but if you get fired, you're basically nothing. You're like this guy's number one. You're like this guy's number one fanboy that holds the key to the fucking fan club. Like that girl. Remember Selena Quintanilla, the Tex-Mex singer? What's that lady that killed her? Yolanda Saldívar. He killed that girl over jealousy. She was like number one running his business. So if you're that guy and they take you away from that position, man, you never know what a guy like Ellerbe will do, man. He's probably in love with Mayweather.
I mean, who's going to hire him? Would anybody? He? It's not like he talks to. He doesn't iron out any deals. He's not on the phone. If he calls another promoter, it's to say, "Hey, this is Lenny. Fucking Mr. Haymon wants to speak to you at this date." Like he's not actually going over anything. Literally, he's a yes man and the propagandist for Mayweather Promotions. I mean,
Jimmy,
the dude's a knucklehead. He tweets out, "Stay woke." So that tells you how much self-awareness this idiot has.
Jimmy, are you saying that the only thing he irons out is Mayweather's laundry?
Exactly.
I mean, you said it, not me. All right, but okay, here's the quote from...
You know what's funny, too? I got to say, Haymon, you know when he finally got blocked? He's like, yeah, I know, he told me to DM the other day he was blocked by LB. I'm like, no shit, because I thought it would have been after he tweeted out the video of him getting, fucking freaky
Rubbed
with
down.
Floyd's chest. Nope,
Yeah.
wasn't that. It was when he was saying online that Floyd's still the face of boxing 5 years later. Still the face of boxing. Haymon and I put together a Google Trends and showed over 5 years whether it was shopping, images, no matter what, and Google handles 86% of the worldwide, fucking searches, and it showed overwhelmingly that Floyd Canelo's name receives tons more traffic over the last 5 years. I mean, solidifying he's the face of boxing. Or what are you going to say? No, he is, but nobody looks him up or interacts with his name on. So that was it. That was the final straw, I guess, what broke the camel's back. Goes to show you what kind of person he is. Got caught again on another lie. Like Haymonites was making a career out of making this guy look like a donkey. Swear to God, it's actually kind of bad that he fucking blocked him. That was fun watching it.
Shows
anyways,
he can't take it, man. By the way, shout out to Plutonium Loach for his contribution with the super chat. He says LRB domes up Floyd with his nostrils. Come on, we gotta go after the guy's nostrils, man. Come on, man. But so shout out to Plutonium
it's
Loach.
in case it's raining. Somebody said. So I read once on Twitter. He keeps him around in case it rains. He stands under his nostril.
Come on. Now wait a minute. See, now that's going too far.
That's what somebody said on Twitter, man. Hey.
I know, but I'm just saying it's
nostril dumbass. That was the best.
Jimmy, come on, man.
Do you think he's made him a millionaire, Jimmy?
Yeah,
he is good. Probably. Obviously, if you
probably. I mean, when Floyd has that kind, he had hundreds of millions of dollars. Did he pay him a million total? Yeah, I mean, spent some money on clothes and shit. I'm sure he has a nice apartment. But like you said, he's fully. I mean, he would have to be surgically removed from Floyd at this moment. What else the fuck is he going to do? Sell condominiums, timeshares, cars? It's about the best that guy's going to look for. If he doesn't work for him, so.
You're here because you got nothing. You got nothing in court. You don't got the bookkeeper. You got nothing.
You know what? That's probably what he's thinking. Without Floyd Mayweather, he's got nothing. And just a final note on that. This is the only thing I could find on this. I can't find the actual interview. This is from 2008. From Saddle Boxing, old forum there. I think it's still active. This is what Floyd Mayweather Sr. said about our old friend LRB. He thanks everyone but his daddy. He thanks LRB, a homosexual. I know he's a homosexual and everyone else knows it. You can print that because I said it. I can tell you nothing else but how gay he is. End quote. That's a quote from Floyd Mayweather Sr. Allegedly. I remember reading that back in the day and it's still there. Now I'd have to find a video of that or which publication, whatever, who did it, who conducted the interview. That's what he said. So... And then you get the evidence of him rubbing Mayweather's chest and biting his lips and going, every time he's doing it.
My God, it was so creepy. It was so fucking creepy.
Yeah, I played the video earlier. I mean, I put the GIF up on the screen earlier. It's very disturbing. Well, listen, fellas, I guess that does it for today. Had a nice little show. Got a couple of things wrapped up. Don't forget to check out the Second Renaissance, everybody. Non-boxing show. Going to be talking about UFOs on the next episode. And don't forget to check out the Darrell Brooks trial. Darrell Brooks, another fine, upstanding gentleman there, who ran over a bunch of people. The Christmas Rambler. He's back in court. He was in court today, I think, for the jury selection. He wouldn't shut his mouth. They actually had to take him out of the courtroom 6 times. And they kept bringing him back. And by the way, Jimmy, they did finally say, I think if he keeps it up, they are going to be able to restrain him and gag him. But when they restrain and gag someone, they don't use the gag like in Pulp Fiction, right? Like a strap and a rubber ball in the mouth and like sadomasochistic stuff.
Oh, yeah. They don't do the rubber ball anymore because they deem that unconstitutional, but they will gag him. there's a piece that goes inside your mouth, and then they, straps around, so they gag him because he has to be present for the trial. If things get bad enough, there's been times that people put inside soundproof box where the sound gets pushed into it, but he's just obviously he knows he's going to prison the rest of his life. This is his fucking 15 minutes, and he's going to play it to the fullest extent.
Well, good for him. Should make for some entertainment, I suppose. People are asking for the link for the second Renaissance. I'm going to put it right here in the chat room so you can check.
So when's that second Renaissance firing off?
But which one?
On the UFOs.
Probably tomorrow. Earl Stevens notified me that he wants to do one on, or about rather, sleep paralysis. So, I mean, I guess maybe I'll do one on that beforehand. But we really do have to kickstart the Halloween season by doing more paranormal stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. I mean, check out the Discord. Check out the Discord for more updates. And obviously the community section here. Usually when we do a second Renaissance show, we put a link in the community section so everybody can stay.
For Halloween, dude, I'd like to do one on like the black-eyed children. Those little fucking freaks freak me out. Those stories. Go on YouTube, check that shit out. That's creepy.
If you could bring up a whole lot of stories about that and about maybe some witnesses, because it's very fickle. There's a lot of stories on it, but nobody really knows. There's no research on it. Nobody knows who the fuck they are. There's no hardcore theories. So, yeah, we'll talk about it. But anyway, listen, fellas, thanks again for joining us. Reverend Pickle says, what time? Well, like I said, check out the community section here and over at Second Renaissance to stay up to date when we do these shows. But with that being said, I want to give a shout out to Bucho, who was here earlier, Jimmy, Gonzalo. Anything else you guys want to say before we move on?
Just that I hope everybody finally sees that Crawford was the one who always wanted this fight. It wasn't because he was with Bob. I think that's pretty much established now that no matter what Bob did or offered, they weren't going to make that fight. Just because Haymon's animus and his hatred of Bob. But on top of that, I don't think Spence... If that fight, all Spence has to do is sign the contract, it's done. You know what I mean? Like, it's clearly what... They don't want to make the fight. It's pretty obvious at this time. So I don't know why... If Spence... That's why, listen, I think he kept saying... He said it more than once. If the fight doesn't happen, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with my career. So
what the fuck?
I don't know. That to me told a lot. So I would think that maybe he fights Thurman and then retires.
I mean, listen.
I think he wants to fucking retire undefeated. I don't think he'll. If he doesn't fight Crawford, he's never going to fight Virgil Ortiz, and he's never going to fight Boone Ennis. I think he'll fight Thurman, and then he'll ride off with that whole era of fucking welterweights and be done with it. Hopefully, he takes Haymon with them.
I mean, listen. Hopefully, this fight happens. I need a big fight, another big fight, as many big fights as we can before the end of the year. But like you said, one side right now, it's becoming evident, doesn't want it, and that is bad news for us boxing fans.
We're halfway through October. Even if they announced it now, when are they going to have the fight? You need 8 weeks for a camp. What, middle of December, Christmas week? I you know what I'm saying? Like it's almost to the point now. It would, even if they signed it, you would think it would have to fucking come in next year, 2023. So that means you're going to start looking at it's been a year and a half from the time fucking Crawford was last in the ring. He's not doing himself any favors because I don't care how talented you are. Ring rust is a real thing. So now, as it stands now, if I was Crawford, I'd make a press conference. I'd hold my own press conference right now and say, listen, I did everything I had to fucking do, but grab that dude's hand and make him sign a contract. I'm not sitting on the shelf any longer. Fuck this kid. Everybody sees it. Give me somebody to fight. You know what I mean? Like, at least he's got to stay sharpened.
And also,
at the age 35.
You balloon up during Christmas and New Year's and the festivities. It's going to take you some time to cut off. And just for me, it's worse for it's worse for Spence. Because he's having to make 147 for the longest time, and he's like 5'10 and a half or 5'11. And that dude, man, when I was talking about CTE, that's a major contributor. When you have to cut down to a certain way, and you're forcing your body to fight at a certain pace, that sometimes it's going to catch up to you at some point. You know, having to cut down and forcing your body to do all these extreme things. being that big. Because everybody, with age, you move up in divisions. And this guy's only been fighting in 47 for the entirety of his career. So at some point, you would think that he would move up, and he's in his early 30s now. So that's just weird. In the latter rounds, he's going to get tired, he's going to get beat up, and he's going to... I think he's kind of a shell of himself now, and it's just going to get worse, man.
Yeah, it reminds me of the movie, what's his guy, Fight Club. When fucking the guy that played, who used to play him? What was the name of that guy that used to play the flute from Jethro Tull? What was the guy's name?
You're talking about the dude that used to be married to the Mexican girl with the plays in the movie, the Score with De Niro. The guy plays retarded.
No, not no. I'm talking about Meatloaf. He was in Fight Club. Remember that he tries to get into Project Mayhem, and they go, "Your tits are too big. Get the fuck out of here." That's what it's gonna be with Earl Spence. His tits are gonna grow bigger. He's gonna be too old. By the time he says, "I want the fight," they're gonna say,
"Too old, fat man. Tits are too big. Get the fuck off my porch."
Get the fuck off my porch.
Supposedly, the guy got skinny in real life, and he couldn't get no more roles because being fat was his character, and he lost the appeal. I read that or I saw that somewhere.
That's a shame for him.
Being fat
He's
was
dead
his thing,
now,
but no, for Earl Spence, it's kind of the opposite, man.
It's fucked up too, man, because he had that all-time great song, man, "Paradise by the Dashboard Light." That was a great fucking theme of getting some chooch in the front seat of your car.
There you go. It always comes down to that, man. That's what music's all about. The magic of music. Getting some nice slice of ass, if you can get it, man. With the two. And you know how
think about that. Great tone, right? "Paradise by the Dashboard Light."
Exactly. It was made for that. And that's how you always gotta shut their traps, so to get them to listen to the lyrics. No, hold on, baby. Listen to the lyrics. Some of them don't buy it. Some of them do. You got to try it out. All right, well, listen, fellas. We got to go. Thanks again to everybody that joined us and everybody in the panel. Like I said, Gonzalo, Jimmy, Bucho was here earlier as well. And, of course, we can't forget everybody that joined us via the phone calls, everyone that donated via the Super Chat, and everybody that was here and is still here. Shout out to Jay Colt, Timothy Figueroa, Eparakua, Sam Rando, Knockout Ned, Kyle L, Vince Vegas, JDA, a.k.a. Joe, Outlaw Boxing in the house as well. Shout out to him. Joseph Bono, Heretic, Jet Kyle, I was going to say, not just Outlaw Boxing. Arm, the Truth Hurts. Who else? Well, if I forgot anybody, it's because we got to go, fellas. But thanks again for joining us. Really appreciate it. We'll catch you in the next one. Don't forget, Second Renaissance. Do I got to say it again? Second Renaissance, all right? If you don't join the Second Renaissance...
You disgust me!
All right, we got to go. Thanks again, fellas. We'll catch you in the next one. Take it easy.
Disappointed in every one of you.